Hello and welcome to Season 2, Episode 1 of Blood on the Tamesis, a Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle set in Oxfordshire, England, 2012. With me tonight,
Philip as Silas Shaw of Clan Brugger.
Bex playing Velvet of Clan Ventry.
Lane playing Joanne Salt of Clan Torrido.
And Carlos playing Theodore Penn of Clan La Sombra.
Ooh. Yes. So because this is a new season, and some people may still be trying to remember what happened last season and want to catch up, we're going to run for you the recap video, but stay with us, we'll be back to start the session as soon as it finishes. Episode 6 to 10 recap video for Blood on the Tamesis, a Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle set in Oxfordshire, England. So the purpose of this video is for people who want to join us live but have not yet had the chance to catch up on all of those other episodes, and it's also for people who did watch those episodes but may have forgotten over the Christmas break what happened and want a little refresher. It's worth mentioning that if any of the names in this video you can't remember who they are or you want more information, if you go to the Blood on the Thames website, to the ShrekNet files, there is a relationship map there with all of the characters present and you can click on them for more details. So, is everybody sitting comfortably? Then I'll begin. We start episode 6 with Joanne being led into a cellar where she finds the kindred that killed her, Denton Fesk, and he's being kept under Sally's supervision. He seems broken, and Joanne tells him that his destruction will ultimately come at her hands. However, when Sally is later put into torpor for frenzying in court, Denton escapes the cellar. Not long afterwards, Joanne is the victim of a hit-and-run car accident, and she calls on Silas for a rescue. The driver seems to be a small woman, but some suspect that Denton is behind the attack. After his visit from Sir Francis, Scourge of Oxfordshire, Theodore rallies the Coterie to help track down a Malkavian by the name of Robert Weston, who has been speaking against the prince to leaders of the Camarilla. Joanne leads the investigation, which ends up taking many months to complete. In the meantime, Velvet continues his affair with Adam, and though his lover's passion seems undiminished, sex no longer satisfies the vampire within him. They both begin to flirt around the idea of sharing blood to invoke the passion of a blood bond between them. Silas is called to audience by his great-great-grandsire, Sir James Douglas, who tells him he must prove himself worthy of his blood by unmaking someone he despises. Silas names Eric Matthews as his target, an actor who is not afraid to abuse his growing fame, and goes to his coterie for aid. Between them, they discover that the man is guilty of abusing his privilege, and Theodore kidnaps him for a personal review. It is during Eric's stay with Theodore that Joanne informs the coterie of the blood tax placed on her, part of the price of being a Torridor in Oxfordshire, and the group decide that the blood of Eric will be a fitting tribute with an interesting taste for the prince to enjoy. Silas returns to Sir James, who accepts the task is done, despite showing displeasure with Silas's level of involvement in Eric's undoing. Joanne also learns that her ex, August, is critically ill after a botched surgery. It was this illness that led her to refuse Joanne's proposal of marriage. The two tearfully reunite, and Joanne embarks on a mission to search for means of saving August's life. Theodore helps Sir William, the prince's child, by cutting through some bureaucracy to enable him to anonymously purchase a property on Planner Road that has been troublesome to acquire. After the business is done, however, it transpires that the previous owner was Fabrice Martin, another Nosferatu of Oxford, who is not best pleased. In the mortal world, Velvet is having trouble with his in-laws. Some of them don't like him, and others like him a little too much, and have become addicted to the supernatural thrill of the kiss. He manages to maintain the delicate balance of mortal and vampiric needs, for now. Finally, the Coterie's investigations into Robert Weston bear fruit, and they learn the location of his haven. Cheng Li, Oxford's sole Tremere, gives them a bloodstone, and Sir Francis instructs them that the stone must be with Robert at the stroke of midnight, when the knights shall descend upon it. They travel to Reading and find Robert, who is very keen to have a discussion. He tells them that Oxford is not the bastion of kindred kind it once was. The disappearance of Sir Thomas, a Toreador, and the torpor of another knight, Sir Martyr, a brewer, have brought the prince's rule into question, and this is why he speaks against him. The discussion is drawn out by the Coterie until midnight strikes, and the knights of Oxfordshire ride to battle, executing several kindred of Reading, including Robert himself, and leaving little but bloody remains of the guards. Joanne manages to save Amanda, a Reading Toreador, from final death, though she is staked and taken into the prince's custody. Having completed this task, the Coterie are urged to request recognition as full-fledged kindred of Oxfordshire. However, on the eve of court, Silas is confronted by Sir Gansook's horse, which carries him to the edge of Oxfordshire, arriving at the Rollright Stones just before dawn. After dismounting, Silas is abandoned there and rushes to find himself shelter for the coming sunrise. The following night at court, Velvet is recognised, despite only one citizen of Oxfordshire speaking on his behalf. Theodore is vouched for by Sir Francis, and Silas, who manages to return to Oxford just in time in something of a ragged state, is vouched for by Sir Gansook. Though Joanne is vouched for by Druty, messenger of the city, it is deemed not to be enough, and the herald rebukes her publicly. In consequence to the raid on Robert Weston, a messenger arrives from the court of Reading with an ultimatum from his prince, Helena. She demands a duel with Sir Drogo to decide who will have domain over Oxfordshire and Reading. Drogo sends a response that only when Prince Helena reaches her 4th century will she be deemed worthy of a duel with him, and when that night comes, he will be waiting in Oxfordshire. While Velvet moves ever closer towards a mutual blood bond with Adam, Silas begins to prepare for entry into the games, and Joanne takes August away for life or death surgery. Meanwhile, Theodore learns a dark secret of his bloodline. He is not descended from a noble Ventru knight after all. He, Isabel and Meliore are La Sombra, guising as Ventru under the protection of a deal made with Sir Enolf, progenitor of the current Ventru bloodline in Oxford. As Theodore reels from the repulsive darkness within his soul, Meliore encourages him to face it and find the darkness within. So thank you for listening to this video. If you would like to know what happens to our Coterie, then join us on Monday. Welcome back. So season 2 is taking place 10 years after the end of season 1, which obviously means that quite a few things will have changed for our characters. So what we're going to do is we're going to join each of them and see what they're up to at the moment. So players, just worth mentioning, of course, you currently have all of your willpower at full, all of your health at full. All of you, with the exception of Velvet, are on Hunger 1. And we'll come to why that is in a moment.
Oh my god.
Just for reference, it is Tuesday the 10th of April 2012. So, let's just get straight in, shall we?
I'm going to buy you a notebook.
So, Velvet,
Buy you a
Yes.
notebook at some point.
we're going to start with you. So, it is late. It is after midnight.
Okay.
No doubt Velvet has parked a street or two away
Yep.
and is now walking a familiar yet now oddly strange route back to the house that was once yours. You know the street well. It is in, of course, a very nice area, and most of the houses are set back from the road anyway. You don't see anyone else because no respectful people will be out walking at night at this
No
time.
way.
No way. You come to what used to be your front garden. What are you doing?
Presumably, I have my key.
You do still have a key to the lock, yes. You have a key to your house, even though it's not your house.
Okay, are there any lights on?
Yes, there is a light on, and you will know that is coming from Freddie's room. But the other... It does seem late. It does seem late.
Okay. So I will... my intention then is to use the key to get into the house, but I want to try and do this as quietly as possible.
There's a strange appreciation of sound that you get in a situation like this. You're able to approach, and also once you're onto the path through the garden, you're generally out of sight from the road anyway. So you feel like you're not going to be observed.
If there's a gravel drive or something, then I'll have walked on the grass.
It's worth noting that the light from Freddie's room does not look like a normal light bulb. It looks like the flickering of a screen.
Okay.
So, you come to the front door. You've come off the path to minimise crunching, though the slight. Hang on a minute. You are aware, perhaps a little, once you've taken a few steps, is that the grass is damp.
I hate this country.
It is surprisingly damp here, and you've never got used to it, even after all this time. So you arrive at the front door. The key makes a little bit of noise going to lock. Nothing big, but to you it sounds abnormally loud. But then there's a click, and you're inside.
I take my shoes off.
Okay, you take off your
At the door,
shoes.
or on the shoe rack.
Okay, you put your shoes on the shoe rack. It feels like an oddly natural thing to do.
Yep. Oh.
Now that you're in the landing, you will see there is a soft light, again, not a room light, coming from the living room. But you don't hear any sound. Actually, that's not true. After a while, you hear the soft a soft humming sound of some kind of very quiet machinery.
Is the door closed, or is it like open across?
The door's open, yeah, to the front room.
So I could look to see.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, I want to do that, but without obviously making. I don't want to put my head around the door.
You're going to just creep up.
Yeah.
So you creep up. The carpet is thick and soft and cushions your steps. This is not a creaky house that you live in, particularly. And what you realise as you come closer is it is a fish tank, which you don't remember being before, but the light has still been left on.
Oh, okay.
A number of tropical fish can be seen swimming about inside it.
I shake my head. I need to get this over with, so I'm going to head upstairs.
Okay.
Try and find Jessica.
Well, you know where she sleeps. So you're making your way up. Are you in any way paying attention to Freddie's room, or are you just going straight to Jessica?
I mean, I'm paying attention to it because I saw the light. So it's not my intention to go in there.
Okay.
But if he looks like he's coming out or something of that nature, I presume he has to traverse. If he was going to the bathroom or something, you have to traverse.
Yes, he does not have an ensuite, no.
Yeah. So then I would, yeah.
So you're in the hallway. His door is shut, but there is a flickering light that kind of spills out into the hall. Although it is dark, for you, you know this house so well, you're able to still navigate even though you can't see well. The halls are wide.
Yeah.
There's not like lots of things to trip over. It is tidy. Are you listening at his door or anything, or are you just pushing on?
I'm going to do that when I leave.
Okay, sure. So you go to Jessica's room. The door is shut.
Okay. I mean, this is not the first time I've done this, I assume?
No.
Okay, fine. In which case, I will open the door as quietly as possible.
So you open the door. Again, very little noise, but even the tiniest noise sounds something. But you barely open the door when, whilst you're straining for it, you will hear the soft sound of even breathing. And you make your way into what was once your bedroom, and still largely looks the same. Certainly the structure is the same, but little details have shifted.
Okay.
Certain things that perhaps Jessica never really liked have now gone. However, you will note, because there is a little bit of light coming through the window, the curtains have not been fully closed, and it's a relatively clear night. There is a picture, which you know is a picture of you as a family, that's still on her mantelpiece at the side of the bed. She is asleep and seems to be sleeping peacefully.
Is there like a chair or anything in this room?
Yes, it's quite a big bedroom.
Okay. I'm going to sit down in the chair and reflect on all the things that have brought me here.
It is a heaviness in you, and yet mixed in with that heaviness and the thought of how your kind of unlife has come to this point. And as you watch Jessica sleeping, and you're aware that just little things, again, like the room, she's still very much the woman that you know, but maybe there are just a few little crow's feet starting to kind of appear a little bit more around the eyes, just a little, nothing major. There's not enough light to tell, but you're pretty sure from other times that there's the first bit of grey starting to creep into her hair, just the odd strand. At the same time, she still stirs the blood as much as she ever did. And that part of you, whilst you're thinking, oh God, how did I get here? And you're thinking about all of these things, a part of you is like, but, I'm hungry. And you do feel just that little tingle of your fangs and your gums, just like they're ready whenever you are.
Well, I don't have to do this, so I will go ahead and feed on her. Yeah. Okay.
So you go to the bed.
Yeah.
And carefully lean over her. Your fangs, of course, extend very naturally. And as gently as you can, you begin to feed. And as your fangs pierce her skin, although she's asleep, she gives a murmur of pleasure. And because even though she's asleep, she still experiences something of the pleasure of the kiss. And you remember it because, of course, when you were living with her and you were feeding with her, it became part of your relationship. And just the responses are very familiar, almost as if you're still with her in some sense.
This fills this blood with bitterness. I mean, I know it doesn't practically, but it...
Well, it's a horrible, weird dual sensation, because it on one part of you is feeling bitter and it is awful, and another part of you is exulting in the taste. There is a different flavour as well. It's not as pronounced as when you first died, as far as she was concerned, but there is still a melancholy nature to her blood. Not that it doesn't directly smash your mood, but it's still there, but nevertheless, it's an interesting taste, something about it that kind of catches your palate is becoming more discerning as time goes on. So a few moments pass and you drink and you go back to hunger 1.
Yay.
And as the hunger recedes, the sense of bitterness and of heaviness and everything else becomes much clearer because you're no longer being quite so distracted by the hunger. What would you like to do?
I will go back and take a look at the picture.
Yes. It's hard to see colours or details, but you can make out the shape, and your memory provides the other details. Of course, this was a time many years ago, although you look exactly the same, of course.
Of course.
But she's holding Freddie in her arms.
Is this picture hanging on the wall, or is it?
No, it's on the. No, it's like on the little chest of drawers next to her.
Right, I put it down flat. So
Okay.
I don't have to look at it, and then I leave the room.
Okay.
And then I wait, and then I listen for Freddie as I'm passing by.
Okay. So when you listen, you think he might have headphones on or something, but he's definitely listening to music. You're aware that he is listening to music even from here, but it's muffled.
Okay.
You will know, of course, that he will have where the screen is in his room, he'll have his back to the door.
Okay. In which case, I'll open the door.
Excellent. So you open the door. He does not happen to be looking in your direction for any reason. He is looking at the screen. You will now that you're coming into the room, you will be able to see the back of his head. He's got quite kind of fashionably messy, choppy hair. That's a sort of mousy blonde. He is wearing just like a t-shirt and some underwear, and that's about it. And he seems to be looking...
Go into your teenager's room.
He's looking at something on the computer. It is not perhaps what you expect it to be. Those of you going, oh, yeah, he's a teenager. So, I don't know if you're going to try and see what he's looking at on his screen.
Yes, for sure.
So as you get closer still, you will start to make out, although Velvet won't recognise it, it is the sound of Moves Like Jagger by Maroon 5 that he's listening to. And what you will eventually see on the screen, can you just make me a very quick Dex and Stealth check?
With my massive...
Yeah, don't worry, the difficulty is really low.
Oh!
All right. So for the benefit of those of us who can't see those dice, what did you get?
4 successes, Messi critical.
Cool.
Okay.
No, why would I do that? I mean, that seems like it's narratively appropriate.
Sure.
Like,
So
First roll of the season.
you creep quietly forward. You make no sound. Some part of you wants to see what your son is doing.
yes.
And there is something in you that is naturally capable of stalking something, because you are a hunter fundamentally. And you move closer and closer until you are standing right behind him. If he was to look carefully, he would see your reflection in his screen. However, he does not look. You lean over. You can smell he's now wearing deodorant. Quite a lot of deodorant.
Of course, yeah.
Which is one of those things that kind of is very pungent to you in this state of mind. But what you're trying to see is, what is he doing? You want to know what he's thinking and what his life is like and everything else. And you rest your hand on the back of his chair, but without a thought. It makes no sound. He's concentrating, he's leaning forward, he doesn't see it. And as you look over his shoulder, what you see is he is looking at tattoo designs. And for a moment, the purest rage goes through you. Like, this is utterly inappropriate. What the hell is Jessica doing?
Yeah.
And you grip the chair very tightly indeed, enough to leave your handprint in it. But then, satisfied you have seen what it is, and not wanting to alert him, you stalk. Well, you begin to stalk out of the room, unless, of course, there's something you want to do.
Nope. I mean, I do want to, wake Jessica up and find out what the fuck, man.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing that today. Like,
So you leave,
yeah.
and you get out, you get back down. A little bit of you also fleetingly is annoyed, like, why haven't they turned the light off for the fish?
Yeah.
The heck is wrong with these people?
Like, I go and everything falls apart, right?
Yeah, exactly. Without your guiding hand, your family go to rot. Yeah.
Poor fish. Yeah.
But you gather your shoes.
I'll turn the fish tank light out.
You turn the fish light out.
Before I go.
Yeah, you turn it out, and then you slip out the front door
Yeah.
and off again into the night. And that's where we'll leave you for now. All right, so next up, we're going to go to Silas. So it's worth mentioning, Silas, that after its 13th season came to a close, Bernard Warrior of the Night was finally taken off air. But it was, it was seen to be a very successful series. Successful enough that it had a spin-off series, which you have been able to find working, because actually it's predominantly the same people with who've just kind of come over to this, some of them playing slightly different parts and what have you. So the show that you're in is taking a spin-off of one of the other characters and using it, and is called Battle Shark Galactaman. And
Battlestar Galactica.
That's
Not Battlestar Galactica, just Battlestar Galactica.
And at the moment, because it's not currently on air, it's something that is coming soon, and you're filming the first run basically at the moment. And you'll have basically a load of you will have gathered together because they've finally got the kind of opening theme sorted out, which obviously I can't replicate being a mere human, but it basically goes something a little bit like this. Na na. Na na. Na 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 na. And so
Please don't encourage.
So you've just heard this, and then everybody goes back to shooting the scene that they're doing. And this has got a more sci-fi feel than the original show, obviously. And they've got a set of a kind of futuristic looking like long corridor with various doors going off to either side that obviously don't have handles on. They're all kind of like sliding sci-fi-esque doors, kind of a chromy look to them all. You are in a kind of silver jumpsuit for this scene. And Rena, who's also directing this, she incidentally is now, you think, somewhere in her early 50s, but she looks like she's probably in her late 50s, early 60s. And is kind of hasn't changed over the years, apart from she's become slightly greyer. And she will be explaining to you, she says, now, Silas, this is the scene where you're making your heroic escape. And as you're trying to get to the escape pods, the self-destruct has counted down and everything is kind of falling apart around you. So when we give mark, you start running, and then we're going to set the charges. Okay?
Good.
So you get yourself into position, they bring you your Sharkman helmet, and you're set. And when the clapperboard comes out, and they're like, Battlestar Galactica, scene 15, self-destruct, take 1, click, and you get camera action, and you start to run. Although these are carefully controlled explosions, they are explosions. So there are two things
Yep.
that I want you. You don't need to roll your stunt skill, but you can if you want to show off. But you have enough dots that you can just make it. You're cool?
Yep. Cool with that.
You're showing off, or you're not showing off?
I'll stick a bit with it.
Fine. The other problem is that there is fire and explosions going off behind you, and whilst Silas knows that this is not something that he has to worry about too much, there is a deep primal part of Silas that does not give a shit what any directors have said or any other special effects people have told him. They just know there is fire. So I would like you at your full willpower with your humanity just to make a quick fear frenzy check. Because
That's 7 critical win.
you're so cool. You run. It's almost like you're running in slow-mo before they put the slow-mo on. As the explosions go, just a few, like the barest breath behind you as you go, looking really cool with your shark grin. You make your way. And then you get to the marked point on the floor and you do your dive. And then you're kind of past the camera bit. And there's lots of applause and everything else. And it's all gone very, very well. And
Fire extinguishers.
when you are back in your dressing room, kind of getting out of costume, there is a tap on the door.
Hello.
So the door opens and a man that you recognise comes in, who looks to be in his kind of mid-30s. He is about 6 foot. He's got light brown hair, which he wears in a ponytail. He's got a full beard. He's got green eyes. He's very broad-shouldered. And he is sort of smartly, but he looks like a sort of sexy professor in terms of his, he's got a bit of corduroy going on and kind of casuals, but he looks good with it. He is quite attractive. But it's your sire, it's Finn. And he'll say, all right, Silas,
Are you Finn?
understand you're still doing this, then?
Yes. I'm from the trip. It won't take long, and I have things going in for.
Right, one moment. So he comes in, he shuts the door behind him, and he says, "I thought I told you had to get out of this."
And that is
What is that on your face?
Makeup is what you always have to wear.
He looks at you. He says, "I see, but what about that other makeup? Are you know, painting your face look older is not going to fool people forever, you know.
No.
Is that a prosthetic?
Well, yeah.
Do you not feel it's undignified? You know.
If I had to leave out another decade, then yes, it would be undignified. But I am still within that. Within that.
You're cutting it fine, is what you're doing. You're taking a risk. So what I don't understand. You know, obviously I could just bash your head until you get your senses back and stop this madness, right? I could do that, but what I'm trying to understand, why have you not cut your, what do you see in all this? Why don't you just say goodbye to it? I mean, what is that you're wearing, for goodness sake?
I mean, I wore worse in college, trust me. Stuff that you don't want to know.
You're right, I don't want to know. I want to know why you're still doing it. That's what I want to know.
Because when I was still Kine, this was all that I trained to do, and this is going to be the last one that I will be doing. So things are in motion for.
But there are other things you're training to do now much more exciting than this. I mean, this is pretend.
I know.
You're going to do the real thing.
I know, and I'm excited for it.
Aye, so am I.
This is a swan song.
All right, well.
Final, last calling.
So, the reason you're hanging on is because of this. It's nothing else.
Yes.
So as soon as this is done, you're out.
Yes.
Good to know. Good to know.
I've been planning a few things, so with the others, making sure that there's going to be no one looking for Silas Shaw.
Aye. He comes and sits down. Can I offer you a bit of advice?
Always.
So, if there are things about this life that you like, that you're going to have to say goodbye to, I recommend you document them in some way. Not an obvious way that's going to be a problem if it's found, but make a record of that history, because you're going to have it for a long, long time. And it's nice to be able to look back and remember it.
All the documentation that I will likely need will already be out there.
I'm not talking about this nonsense. I'm talking about your family, your friends, all of that.
Yes.
And it'll be fine. You've got a new family now, right?
I do.
You do, and he'll put a hand on your shoulder. Give it a squeeze.
Okay, but it is still hard to say goodbye.
Aye, it is. It is. You need to think about how you're going to do it the best way.
Yes.
And don't take too long, right? I've been saying this more than once.
I know.
Even your bloody Toreador's got a head around it now, you know.
Yeah.
And she's stubborn.
I bet she is.
Still, could have been worse. Your Coterie's not too bad, really.
No. I mean, I don't know how the hell you handled that with Barnaby.
Me neither. But I'm really appreciating life now. It's lovely. So nice. All I've got to worry about is you. Anyway, I'm sure you'll have this all in hand soon, eh? I look forward to hearing about your progress.
Thank you.
Right. Well, I'll leave you to your fish adventures or whatever it is. And he'll get up and he'll leave you to it. That is where, unless there's anything you're doing, that I will leave Silas for a minute. Okay, so Joanne, you are in quite a nice looking, not like super expensive, you're used to now very expensive environments, But this is just like a homely family kind of place, kind of like sort of maybe someone on a sort of reasonable job, but nothing fancy, you know. But it's definitely a family home, and there are family pictures about and that kind of thing. With you are 3 other people and a dog. All 3 of them you know very well. The person who owns the house, her name is Heather Kim, and she is a thin blood that you have got to know over this time. She looks to be in her mid-50s. She is quite mumsy. And you will know that this is her home, and she does have family. And she, in your opinion, is pushing it, as in, she's looking now quite good for her age because she's not actually in her mid-50s. But her husband doesn't seem to care, for whatever it's worth. She is sitting there kind of with you, talking alongside 2 people who look quite incongruous, because you and her kind of look reasonable in this house. But there is also Norman, who is also a thin blood, who still looks to be in his late 20s, who is quite small and also very scrawny looking, and just a bit grimy looking. He's got quite kind of lank brown hair, and he's wearing kind of torn, quite old, faded clothes. And he looks like he's just kind of rolled in out of some kind of late night party or something like that.
Does he still smell?
He does still smell.
I've told him about it, but he doesn't do
Norman
anything about it.
Norman never learns. There's been no character development for Norman in the time passes. And you've also got Marissa, who is in her mid-20s. She is quite lanky looking, but also quite short. And she's also a thin blood, I should say, is quite spotty. But she's in a good mood because she has a new dog that is a sort of Heinz 57 random stray that has quite kind of floppy ears.
No one said anything.
So Marissa is kind of mainly ignoring the rest of you and is fussing with the dog. That is a puppy and is quite excitable and is jumping about. Heather has put like tea and biscuits out, even though nobody here seems to be eating tea and biscuits at the moment. Norman will very pointedly slide the biscuits out of the way, and he will put a bag of blood on the table. And he says, try this one, Joanne.
Pick it up and bite into it, because he's probably messed with it some way and probably messed up the seal somehow. So.
Yeah. He's not handled it properly. Yeah. It's not like an expert. So you break the seal on the bag and you sip on the blood. So something that Joanne has noticed over the years is that obviously when you drink from a blood bag, it has no resonance. It is like eating a kind of mushy cabbage equivalent for vampires or something extremely watered down. But moreover, as the years have gone by, she started to need more and more of these blood bags to fill her. And the thing that you find is when you drink and you eventually drain the whole bag, A, it's not particularly pleasant as an experience, and B, it does nothing to ameliorate your hunger. You don't feel yourself. And he says, don't worry. He says, that was just the control. And then he gets out another bag. He says, now try this one.
You're full of surprises today. Take it and try it as well.
So this one has, it's weird. It's like, you know, if someone was making up a powdered meal that was a tasteless powdered meal, but to get over it, they just chucked a load of powder in. That is sort of what this is like, in that somehow it feels stronger or richer in some way, yet the flavour is still mainly bland, you know? It is not like this is now tasty blood or you love the experience. But it does, you do feel a lessening of hunger when you drink it. You did, I should say, feel a slight lessening with the first one. But this feels more like what you were used to back in the old days. This feels like a potential substitute.
You've got it good with this one. I don't know what you did, but...
You don't want to know.
No, you're right. I probably don't.
Yeah.
Shit, that alchemy there too. That's...
Heather says, it really worked.
Yes.
Oh, That's wonderful. Biscuit?
I can't, but...
Norman takes one and puts it in a pocket. She will take a biscuit and will actually start to eat it. And then will pour herself some tea. He says, yeah, it's been hard. It's been hard to get right, but I knew we could do it. So...
Speaking of which, do you need any...
Yeah, if that's all right.
Just take a knife, just...
Yeah, he will take out a container and he will collect some of your blood. You won't get hungrier because you've effectively just been feeding, so we'll call it evens. But you give some of your blood, he will take it, and you will see his eyes hungrily kind of fall from you to the blood, watching every drip. He is very careful not to spill any or lose any. And when it's full, he puts it in and he'll just say, sorry, as he's looking at the blood, Heather will say, Marissa hasn't really paid you any attention. You'll occasionally hear a little yipping and barking. And that's about it really from her. And Heather will say, how are things?
To tell you the truth, it's... You never think you'd have to do this when you're growing up, but we're here now. I took the bigger step and faked my death recently, so...
Oh, we read about it. I thought that was amazing, says Norman.
That was incredibly difficult to set up.
Yeah, Heather just sort of slaps Norman on the hand, just kind of absent-mindedly. Says, you can stay longer if you need to, if you want to talk about it.
It's all right. You've got things to do, obviously, and I can see Norman's a bit excited to...
Yeah, if you're done, that's great. I'll see you normal time.
Of course.
Great. I'm really glad it worked. Look, next time I'll bring more, and you can take some away with you.
Excellent. Before you go, I do have... I felt my blood. It's quickening. It's getting stronger. Is there... There isn't a way to reverse it, is there?
Why would you want to reverse it? That means this is like even better than before.
For you, yes, but not for me.
But I thought you lot just get stronger as you get older. That's the point.
Yes, that's the point for me. I don't want that.
I mean, I've never heard of anyone even trying it, but I could try. I don't even know where I'd start though. I'll ask around.
It would be appreciated. It's probably not something you can do, but...
I hear there are some of your lot that can do things with blood. Not exactly like us, but maybe worth asking them. I don't hear there are many around, though. Yeah. Heather looks like she has no clue, but she sips her tea like everything's fine. Norman says, right, anyway, I'll see what I can find out. I'm sorry, though, I don't know. I don't know. And he will slip away. Is there anything else you're saying to any of the others?
Kind of just get to know, talk to Marissa, but go, so what's the dog's name?
She says, I was not sure, actually. I was trying to think about what to call him. Maybe Flopsy? Because of his ears?
Good a name as any.
Heather says, that's adorable.
Never had a pet, so... I'm not the best person to ask here, I'm sorry.
Flopsy it is. There you are. And there's... I'll make a note. Okay. So, apart from getting to know them better, is there anything you want to talk about with them specifically? No. So you have a pleasant evening with Flopsy and company. and that's where we'll leave Joanne. So, Theodore, you, of course, have not been living with your sire for some time now. However, you have arranged to meet her back in her home. And it feels, coming back, a sort of comforting space. Because nothing has changed. Everything is exactly as where you expect it to be. Everything is clean. Everything is nicely positioned. It all just feels like a controlled, calm but cultured environment. Isabel, of course, herself looks to be in her early 30s. She is just under 6 foot. She has long black hair that's always worn long and braided, normally over one shoulder. The braid sits in the front. And as ever, she is kind of smartly, but kind of in an understated way, well turned out. And she's always wearing kind of subtle but kind of warm makeup. So she will greet you. Now, I should have possibly done with some of the others, so we will come back to you. Keep your description in mind, because we haven't seen Theodore for a while. Let's have a quick, what does Theodore look like?
Theodore is shy of 6 feet tall, something like 5'10", 5'11". He looks to be well into his mid-60s now, with a beard that he no longer shaves completely. He just trims it now, so a lot of the salt and pepper shows there, together with the white hairs around the temples. So he definitely looks about maybe not 10 years, but definitely older than what he looked on season 1. He is pretty much all the time smartly dressed. Not as old-fashioned as before. He's wearing more modern-style suits, but still the three-piece kind and the like. He has a very stern look with very cold, glacial blue eyes, and always like a clenched jaw.
So Isabel will greet you, will kiss you on each cheek, and says, "Welcome, Theodore.
Thanks for seeing me, Isabel."
It's a pleasure, and it's been too long. Please." She'll show you into a nice sitting room. There are a couple of candles lit, but it's softly lit, allowing the kind of the flickering shadows to play across the table. And when she sits down opposite you, she'll kind of arrange her bag and things like that, and then turn to give you her full attention. You're kind of aware of perhaps of a sadness in her that you didn't know before.
Is everything all right?
Everything is as well as it can be, Theodore, but you know that our lives are not simple ones, even for kindred.
Yes, on that subject, actually, that's the reason of my visit.
Has something happened?
Yes, but it happened a while ago, and so you've always known I consider Miyuki to be very special.
Yes.
And it has never been a secret to you that we were close in our living days.
And she is indeed special.
I did, at some point, make a promise out of her. Both of them having been ghouled, we both know what it is to be bound. And after little over 10 years of her taking in my blood, I think it's time for me to make good on that promise. And it is to release her of the bond temporarily, so she can talk to me openly before being bound again.
You wish to break the bond between you?
Only temporarily.
And what will you do in this temporary time?
Yes, the whole idea is for her to freely speak her mind of the state of things, how are things progressing, whether she's happy with the way things are being done or not, and then I will make the necessary adjustments before immediately giving her blood again. If she's going to be a slave of the blood, which is the agreement we had when I brought her from Japan with me, at least to have it somewhat in her terms from time to time. You know that my intention is to eventually become a kindred of repute here, so she can be embraced. So it would be a disservice to mistreat her all this time.
It is a noble sentiment, Theodore. I'm not opposed to it. A part of me is envious of such an opportunity. However, have you considered that the reason she is seen not to be a risk to the Masquerade is that bond?
Absolutely.
And, as you have said, she's very special to you. What measures will you take when she is free of the bond? What if she decides to flee?
Well, during that time, she will be guarded by my other ghoul fans. And she would be off in annual leave from her day job, so she can guard herself. She will be under surveillance, of course.
I'm not suggesting that you do this, of course, but if your goal is to really know how she feels, for her to be able to answer free of consequence, you cannot place her under guard, or she will know she is still a prisoner, and therefore you will not be able to trust what she says. If you really want to know the truth, at the very least, she will need to believe that she is free and safe to speak. And that comes with its own complications.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to you doing this, Theodore, providing you've thought it through. I have another question for you on this matter. Have you considered that she may speak her mind?
Yes.
It has often occurred to me that the reason that this society of ours functions such as it is because we have all learned not to speak our minds.
Yes.
No matter the provocation. And
Well,
no matter how much we might desire to say something, no matter how much we might wish to express disagreement or rage or any of those things, we do not.
well, she has been a ghoul for over 4.5, almost 5 decades. She has only been mine for 10 years. She knows she has lived all her life in this, well, most of her life in this situation. She's very aware of the consequences. And I will make the necessary arrangements.
I think the thing you need to be careful of, Theodore, is that if she believes that she has no other choice that is appealing, then it may be no choice at all.
Yeah, but that's where trust comes in. Mine's and hers.
I will leave you to conduct your business as you see fit, providing you have given it proper thought and aware that in this matter, your judgment may not be as clear as usual.
Yes, that's one of the reasons I came to you to ask for permission to do this. There's another matter. I will need more than your permission. I will need your help. In the form of your blood, possibly. She's not the kind of person that will survive being withdrawn from the blood completely.
Ah, I see. And you wish to dilute the hold that your blood has on her with the blood of other kindred?
Yes, preferably you and 2 or 3 more. It's over the course of several months, so she doesn't develop any sort of bond with anybody.
Do you have 2 or 3 other kindred that you would trust for this task?
No, that's why I came to you first, because if I don't have your permission, then seeking others is...
I
don't intend of doing this immediately. This will take time for me to find them.
I'll be honest with you, Theodore. I feel like this is a sweet but naive mission you have set for yourself. But I will support you in it, because perhaps in my own way I would also like to believe that such a naive mission could be done, even if I do not, really. So, when the time comes that you need my blood, you may have it.
Thank you. There's something else.
You know that you are safe to speak here.
I have not said anything because I gave my word and I was bound to it. I'm not supposed to tell you or anybody this. But then again, you're my sire.
If it helps you, Theodore, whatever you tell me, I will keep in the strictest of confidence.
When I left Japan, there was a price I had to pay to take Miyuki with me.
I wasn't aware of that. I'd assumed this was a parting gift from Imago Dono.
No, living with my life was enough. I had been a useful ghoul, but that's it. She was under the care, and I'm using the term loosely. Her domitor was Imago Dono's child, Naoto, of whom you've heard, probably.
Yes, I have.
So I chose to free her of that very, let's call it unpleasant, thraldom that she was in. I begged. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna say that I struck a bargain with Imago Takahisa, because I didn't. I begged. But apparently I had been a good and loyal lapdog, so he agreed to let Miyuki come. As long as in the future I do something for him.
Go on.
I have not been asked to do anything yet. But I do believe that Imago Takahisa will collect on his boon, which is not a minor one, at some point in the future. And I did not want this to come as a surprise to you. No, you shall not share a false war with their brothers. There are many... The rules of the game have changed, and I gave my word, but also I swore an oath, and I've been conflicted ever since. I have not...
I'm glad that you felt able to tell me, Theodore. And I think it is often considered that the bond between a sire and a child is such that it is not a surprise that they might share things such that they might best serve the city. Having said that, you do not need to feel conflicted about a boon. A boon is the business of the kindred that holds them. No one else's. And you are not breaking your oath about the fact that you hold a boon. That is not something to worry about. Having said that, it is very useful to be forewarned that that is the case.
I was specifically told to keep this to myself. This is a boon that no one is supposed to know.
That is unusual.
His whole, his health. That's Japan for you. That is Imago Takahisa for you.
Yes.
He's ancient and he has a reason for doing this kind of stuff. I do not know what benefit would be of him to have me quiet about it, but
One thing is certain. He will call it in at some point. And I would think it likely that he had something in mind at the time.
yes.
Because, as you say, you being here, perhaps he simply thought it might be useful one day. But that is not the man that I met. That was not the way he did things. He was methodical and was always thinking ahead. That's why he's been so successful.
Yeah, I also believe that at some point I thought he just wanted to have his lieutenant back at any point that he might need it. But then why keep it secret?
Why indeed? Well, perhaps in confiding in me, we have a small advantage. Because when the time comes, whenever that is, then it won't hurt to speak to me about it. And you may well want my guidance. And if I'm honest, Theodore, I'm burning with curiosity to know what it is.
You are the only one, I assure you. But yes, this is how important Miyuki was for me and how important I was for her.
I understand.
She did not make it a secret that she was not happy with her regnant. So that's why I trust her to be straightforward, but not overly chatty about it.
As terrible and binding as blood bonds are, in a way, at least they are more understandable, more predictable than a boon, which can come at any time and be used in almost any way. There are many chains in our world. Many chains. Thank you for your trust, Theodore. I will be worthy of it, I assure you.
I reach over and hold her hands and thank you for understanding.
I will always understand. And we have to trust one another, for there is no one else. And she has a moment where she looks slightly less composed, but then she soon restores it again.
I take that as my cue. I stand up. Thank you for having me.
And she'll...
Yeah, she walks me to the door, and then when I say goodbye to her after kissing her in the cheeks, I say, it goes both ways.
Yes.
Whenever you need to confide in me.
There may come a time, Theodore.
You say the word.
Thank you.
Good night. And I just...
And
go
you
to the
leave.
car.
So that is going to kind of conclude our independent scenes for Tuesday, the 10th of April, 2012. We're not far from the break, but I would like to do a little bit more before we hit the break. So, the next evening comes, which is Wednesday, the 11th of April.
So do I take a stain for going against my...
Oh yes, sorry, it's a very good call. By going against your conviction, you do take a stain, and unfortunately, you don't have any convictions you can use to not take a stain.
It was not a Chronicle 10, it was a conviction. That's why I was conflicted.
Yeah. So yes, you do take a stain, and obviously we'll remorse check. We must remember at the end of the session. So on Wednesday, in the night, let's say in the kind of not like immediate part of the evening, but let's say something more like 9-10 o'clock time. Whereabouts are you all likely to be?
It depends on where Adam is.
Ha ha ha.
If he's at the house, then I'm at the house. If he's not at the house, then I'm at the secret lair.
Headquarters?
The secret lair, yeah.
Right. So let us take this opportunity. So I'll quickly establish where everyone is. So you are at the Coterie HQ, which we will talk about in a moment. Joanne, what about you?
I don't leave the Coterie HQ apart from to see my friends, so...
So you'll be at the Coterie HQ? Silas, what about you?
Sounds like we also be at the Coterie HQ.
Well, this is nice and simple. Good. Well done, players. And Theodore?
Probably. What time is it?
It's about 10 o'clock.
live in the house, probably on the way to the HQ after having
Okay.
accompanied Miyuki for dinner, or check in on the business and everything.
All right. So because obviously this is something that's happened to your characters that you know about, but for people who are watching along, it is worth saying that, of course, when you were finally recognised as true citizens of Oxfordshire and recognised as a coterie, and you then took over from either your sires or the people who had inserted you into that position as the new Southern Veem of Oxfordshire, who, of course, serves Sir Holder in the kind of general odd jobs, often unpleasant, of looking after the south of Oxfordshire. The Prince gave you a domain where you could feed, which was yours to kind of oversee. And this domain, and indeed the haven that you maintain, your principal haven, is in Cumnor, which is quite close to the city itself, but is not in the city. It's in a very well-to-do area. And the houses in this area, because of course it is the area, for anyone who's paying attention at home, where Velvet's family live. So we're talking about houses that are always separate rather than attached to each other, or if they are, they're very large and there'll only be like two connected rather than kind of in a row or anything like that. Houses that are set back normally, that have their own grounds, their own gardens, potentially their own tennis court, that kind of business. It's a very luxurious...
It does. We had this conversation.
It's a very luxurious, very prestigious kind of place to live. So, what I would like is for you just to give the people at home just a vague sense of what your actual kind of haven, shared haven, is like. You don't have to go into massive detail, but just give us a feel for it. And then players who have not yet described themselves, again, to jog our memories, if you can just give us a quick idea of what your character looks like, that'd also be good.
I think we should start the shared haven with the person who
Oh, yeah.
pushed for the...
Who has the most investment in it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's large and it's luxurious because I'm not living in a pit. Even though the rest of these people would lower their standards to this such. It's got a library, which is stocked out with philosophy books. What else did I pay for?
Not only for it to be in a very well-to-do
in a good
area.
location, in a good size. So it's done out very well. I mean,
It's sort of like a manor house.
Yeah, it's like a manor house. I probably when I'm there, I spend a lot of my time lounging around in leather furniture, I would think.
Yeah.
And
Flat screen TVs.
yeah, and complaining that I no longer have a secretary to do shit for me.
Yes.
And having established that the security can't do stuff for me, to do things on my own now.
No.
Security leading on.
Yeah, because when I arrive, I just say hello to Vance and ask my ghoul, who is the chief of security and the watchman, of the business of the day. Anyone coming during the daylight hours? Anything going on in the evening?
I'll say, all quiet, sir.
Excellent, thank you very much. Moving on. Yes, they are our watchmen and protectors. They're security. They're not secretaries, sadly. So I just go straight to the war room and.
The war room is a meeting room for everyone.
Yeah.
It is a war room.
It's a meeting room.
It's a meeting room that he calls a war room.
It's a meeting room.
This may give you some sense of what the last 10 years has been like, at least for me. So, yes.
It's a meeting room, deputy chief.
Well, let's call it just chief. It has a map of Oxfordshire with permanent marker over the whole border that the Southern Veem controls. The undisputable border, Sir Holder told us was.
Yes, absolutely.
Others disagree, namely the Northern Veem, but they are wrong.
They are wrong. Except for Adam, who's not wrong.
Yeah. Cool. And anything else you want to add, or are you happy with that for now?
Joanne has essentially moved into the headquarters, and as a result of doing so, took the master bedroom,
I mean, makes sense.
installed a surgery.
And you have a second room as your daily office for your research.
Yeah.
So it's like
She
lives there.
essentially lives there and is the first point of contact in case these three are out. She doesn't really go out or do much because she faked her
Does
death.
loads.
Yeah.
She doesn't go out.
And Silas, anything to add from your end?
Silas most common fun when there's no business or nothing in his as Carlos put it the other day, is chop shop.
Yes, it's a chop shop. It's a garage slash workshop.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Why is everything war prefix?
Workshop, not war shop. Workshop. Because he's a handy. He's good with his hands.
There's space for a few guys now, and he has been slowly but surely decorating the walls with different weapons, different medieval weapons, which he has been sizing and concealing in various places all over the mansion.
Basically, every room has at least
one.
a lead pipe, knife.
Except my surgery, because I made
Hatchet.
sure it stayed out of there.
It's okay. It still has scalpels and stuff like that. So it's every room has at least one weapon.
So there are some design choices that are conflicting between members of the Coterie, but essentially you all have spaces which are very much your own space within this house, this very grand house that you have converted various parts of to suit your needs. And again, for those watching at home, the Coterie in the first season had a number of expeditions and things where they gambled their kind of reputations on their success. And luckily for them, all of the gambles paid off. And then they reinvested and gambled again and they paid off, which means that they've got quite a lot of prestige for such a young Coterie. And therefore, they've had quite a successful nest they've been able to put together. So, very quickly, if we can have some descriptions from you three, and then we'll get back to the action.
Okay, so Velvet has sort of sandy blonde hair and blue eyes. Is always very well turned out. Favours wearing red most of the time. That's about it. He's quite slight.
Exact opposite. Joanne's gone from smart casual, kind of business casual, to incredibly casual, not giving a shit about her appearance. Her hair's kind of same length, so she's kind of keeping that a little bit. And she now always wears a necklace with a key on it, a gift from Druty.
Okay.
And Silas hasn't really changed all that much. He's been of the company. He seems to be the one that's been holding on to the past that little bit more than everyone else.
One of us are holding on to the past really well. We're just being forced to give it up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's where he's the occasional thing has been discussed with the country of what needs to happen, but he's been dragging his heels a little bit in regards to that.
Cool. So as everybody describes themselves. So you've made your way into your war room. You're all kind of in your spaces, happily lounging.
I'm not happy.
unhappily lounging. It feels like ages since you've seen Adam. It feels like you can like that. Why is
Everything about this world is shit.
you may be tinkering
Yeah,
in your workshop. You may be
currently wondering where the hell I can actually finally put a full-on storage claymore. I have at least one big ass sword hidden somewhere.
So you're sizing up where you can place it. It's very hard to hide claymores, but you're working on it. You're working on it.
How about the back of the large industrial freezer?
That's probably where you got a few things.
So, whilst you are all about your kind of various businesses, a call will come through, and you will know it is generally the line that you keep open for official calls.
Bat signal.
Effectively the bat phone. Yeah, effectively the bat phone. Who is going to answer that
me.
phone?
Probably
will.
like the direct line.
Okay. So you...
So the one in my office rings first
Yeah,
before
exactly.
anyone others.
Yeah, basically.
Okay. So the first thing that will strike you when... So you'll hear a gruff man's voice you think belongs to Pietra, who is Sir Holder's ghoul. You know that you will know, Joanne, because you will have dealt with him. He normally will send messages or messengers because he doesn't really like talking very much. And he doesn't really like having to phoning people is bad. He doesn't have. So this is unusual, the moment you hear his voice. And he will say, there's been a call just put through. to the police. Victim of an attack. Details are sparse, but sounds like it might be a masquerade breach in Upton. And they'll give you an address.
Right. Taking notes while he's doing this?
The address will sound vaguely familiar to Joanne. He says, our people are holding the dispatch up as long as possible, but the police will be on their way shortly. Try and beat them there. And then he hangs up. The reason the address will sound familiar in Upton is because you know that that is where Sally's domain is. So, what does Joanne do?
Kind of just sit for a second and go... and try and gather everyone together.
Okay.
This is crap. Red button!
Yeah, I saw people sliding down fireman poles and things. So you essentially, you can gather together relatively quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what is it?
There's been a potential masquerade breach in Upton, and I'll give them the exact address I was given.
Right.
Okay.
Sally's domain.
I start walking. I grab one of the walkies and then I turn at that. It's like, what? Sally's domain?
Yes.
Let's get in your car.
Yeah.
And I grab the walkie, keep me posted, and tell Silas to come and help me, and Velvet to come with us as well. It's like, do you want to come to help us? Maybe.
Yeah.
We need to. So
Okay.
the three of us will get in the car. She will stay there. Find out if the police have been notified and all of those things. Try to keep them at bay.
Apparently the police are being held back as long as possible, but they will be there shortly. That's what Pietra told me.
Well, this is not going to take more than an hour, right? Because I got other things to do.
No, I think it's gonna be like a fairly simple thing.
I feel if Sally's there, if it's in Sally's domain, I should probably be there.
Well, you can go and stay
wanna
with me
come?
if you like.
No, I'm good.
Well, yeah, we're walking as we discussed this towards
So
the garage.
you find yourselves in the car. Velvet is like just starting to get the inkling that maybe he can get out of this one as Silas begins to pull out.
Silas Mobile.
Come on, Silas. The sooner we get there, the sooner we can goddamn leave.
I'm moving.
You're not
You
trying.
coming? Yeah, all
So-
the four of us.
As you pull out. How fast are you going to Upton, Silas?
Pretty fast, but still basically on the very edge of the speed limit.
So you're going to drive on the edge of the speed limit.
On the upper edge.
So is this like, are you going to be like the anti-Benjamin, where you're going to be like going fast, go faster, go faster, go faster?
It's not like we're gonna die if we crash, and we need to. It is like we're gonna die if we don't make it in time.
Okay, if you're just going to drive flat out, then it'll be a drive check, difficulty 5 to beat the police. For every level of which you don't get to 5, it'll be that bit after the police. If you get 5, you beat them there. For every margin over 5, you will obviously beat them by a bigger margin. You have more time before they arrive.
Shit.
I think you should drive as fast as possible. Anyone who stops us, I'll convince them they made a mistake.
Oh, by the way, did everybody rouse for today?
Oh, no.
Of course.
Yep. I'm on 101. Thank you.
Oh, no,
And I
I'm
did
on
not get
102.
hungry.
Cool,
Did go hungry.
cool. So basically, Theodore's on hunger 1, Joanne is on hunger 1,
2.
Velvet's on hunger 2, good work, and Silas on hunger 1. Okay, thank you for that clarification.
I knew I should have gone.
Are you?
Yeah.
Are you? Is it dexterity plus drive, right? Or-
Yeah.
Thanks for trying. I am rousing because that gives me 6 dice.
Okay, that's good. I see successes.
Mm-hmm.
4. How many successes?
4. We got one more, don't we?
Depends how much you want to beat the police by.
I mean, we should want to beat the police, right? I mean, it's not my point.
Oh,
so
well,
just
sorry.
shut up. Okay.
So if I was to 4 successes,
So, if you want, you can succeed at a cost.
what would the cost be?
The cost will be that in your high-speed roar through Oxfordshire to get to Upton, that you will get picked up speeding. Not that you'll get arrested, but as in you'll get flashed by camera or something
Like
like
the
that.
camera.
You will.
Then you'll get fined.
Don't worry, I'll pay the ticket.
Dots like points out of your license.
Yeah.
It's okay. I mean, you're gonna fake your death every time soon. And
Yeah, you're
sometimes,
going to be dead soon.
So you are going to pay the cost.
Yeah.
All right. So essentially, Silas drives fast. There's often screeches of tyres. You come around corners as you're kind of slightly swung in the car.
I do not like this.
I'm just checking, putting the silencer on the gun, like everything's
Yeah.
moving.
Oh, I forgot to see if I can have a stunt special to that, but
And you run red lights. You ignore speed cameras. You generally zoom southwards.
I'll fucking kill you myself.
And
don't distract me.
you will come roaring into Upton to find no blue flashing lights here yet.
Cool.
However, you don't think you've got long as we pause for the break.
Okay, so we're gonna start with some shout outs. Shout out to our new patron on Patreon, Elf.
Hello, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your support. Also, thank you very much to Cedar for her art of the Coterie plus her character that we used for yesterday's blog post. And she's been doing great work.
She has also done for me a fantastic commission, which I think people have seen of Velvet and Adam in the Two of Cups tarot card.
Yeah, I'll probably put it on the blog this week as well.
Yep.
So.
And I think she's open for commission.
Yeah, she's still
Yeah,
open,
so you
so
can have that. I have another one with
that's
her
an
at the moment,
opportunity.
so it's
and a big shout out and a hug to Kirsty, who was
Hey.
here in Bristol yesterday because
Is here
she
still?
Well, is still here, yeah.
Oh, I mean, she moved. So yesterday we saw her, like she met with everybody and we had a lovely, lovely time.
Yes, we did.
And she got like sort of like a backstage, like pass to the conversations of the Coterie pre-season 2. So thanks for being there, girl. You're amazing.
Yeah, and should anybody watching the show for any reason be in Bristol or indeed in England, because sometimes we travel, do let us know and we will do our best to come and say hi to you.
Yeah, because again, we absolutely do love seeing you, and yeah, it's
always
cool. It's such a good feeling for us to see
Yeah.
you guys in person, and yeah.
Relationship map time. This is like a big update. So
It is a big update.
let's go.
Okay, so I'm going to just read through this because there's a lot. So
Yeah.
we added Matthew Smith, who people may remember is the man to whom Velvet owes a boon. He is also the child of Sir Francis, so I added that connection in. Then added the sire connection between Sir Gansuk and Sally. Added Inspector McAllister from episode 10. Took out the Southern Veeam Coterie for the sires
Yeah.
because they suck, right?
And now
And, and now we're it. So now that's been updated. And then we added the Venator Coterie, which is Rupert and his child Jeffrey and Anne, and then also poor Pascal.
super,
Pascal the Nosferatu.
super poor Pascal.
Yep. Added a link between Sir Holder and our coterie.
Yeah.
And then we added Jasmine, the Northern Gatekeeper, and her link to the Northern Coterie. And then lastly, but obviously by no means least, and because I know that chat will love this, Sir Gansuk's horse
Hey.
has been added.
Sergey Cherimisinov horse is on the relationship map. And remember, for every character that is on the relationship map, even Sergey Cherimisinov horse that doesn't have a portrait, you are the source of our portraits. All of the portraits on the relationship map are fan art.
Yes.
With the exception of the coteries, which
coterie.
are the official character portraits done by Cedar.
Oh, on the subject of shouting out, we should also do a shout out to Mike Mullin. Thank you very much, because he's one of our patrons and he named Heather Kim, who appeared in this session. Has actually been in the game since the very beginning, but this is the first time, because you've been to our house a few times, but it's the first time that she's actually been on camera. So because just to say that on Patreon, sometimes you get the chance to name characters in the game. So, and when you do, and they come in, we'll give you a shout out.
Oh, and I think the last shout out. We're done with the relationship map?
No.
Go on.
I don't know. Where's that steak when you need it, eh?
So I
It's in the drawer.
I moved stuff around, so it's got a bit of a different layout. We were going to add the coteries' updated views of each other, but Lane was the only person who did this. I include myself in that. I didn't. So
I was out of the country.
it will probably be next time. Carlos has an excuse. I do not. So that will probably be next time. But I just want to say thank you to Lane for making the effort to do it.
Oh.
So
I'll get it to you soon enough, don't worry.
That's the end because
yes, I'm finished. Sorry.
next
yes.
finally a shout out. Well, it's more like calling to action and people to be aware of. There is right now a Kickstarter for the newest Onyx Path publishing book, Cult of the Blood Gods.
So excited.
Amazing, super excited.
Yeah.
We're backers.
Yeah.
Bex and myself. You get manuscripts as a backer, like early snippets of the work that is coming.
It's incredible.
Very interesting. The spin they're giving to a lot of stuff. The Hecata,
Yeah.
the mortal cults, the kindred cults.
If you know old World of Darkness, it's really interesting as well.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
and I think they're doing an amazing job of trying to amalgamating
Yeah.
all the things from the old lore and World of Darkness and trying to give it a place without breaking things, and
Yeah.
it's something that is well thought of. So I
shuts
believe
on Thursday, doesn't it?
Yes, I
Yeah.
believe this is the last week of it. It has reached
It's on
several stretch goals
Yeah.
over. I think they have raised over 100,000.
Yes, they have. Yeah.
Dollars. So they have reached, like, if you'll become a backer for I am the PDF. I get the PDF
I get
version.
the real hard copy because I don't do PDFs, man.
Jeez, hardcore.
Old school, I am.
I went for the PDF one, and even then, in that tier, you get,
get
from the
loads of
stretch
stuff, yeah,
goals.
yeah.
They have other supplements and other PDF that they that come from those. And I think the next stretch goal that they were really close to getting is like a bonus to all the creative team. But one of them is a further investment in the art that is going in,
Yeah.
and higher quality art. So it's a very worthwhile. Please give it a look and check it out. Very, very good. From Onyx Path Publishing, Cult of the Blood Gods.
So I have an additional thing, unrelated to the relationship map, which is the kind of thing of New Year and New Challenge.
Ooh.
So some people have seen this. Sorry, did you?
No, that's
Some people have seen this on Twitter. 24 days from now, on the 4th of February, which is World Cancer Day, I will shave my head. I have not cut my hair for something like 4 years. It strikes me that there may be some similarities between us once that's done. But in all seriousness, I'm doing this for a charity called Click Sargent, which supports children and young people with the impact of cancer beyond their health. When I was 8, my best friend at school had cancer. She had leukemia, and she was supported by this charity. And they do incredible work because everybody will know cancer is a horrible, horrible thing. It destroys people's lives. It's even worse if you're a young person, if you're in education, or you're just starting out in life. And a lot of the work that they do is around supporting people through the social isolation of cancer, through the emotional impact and financial impact of cancer. So I'm hoping to raise more than £1,000. I'm about halfway there. So if anyone is willing to donate anything at all, I will be forever grateful. This will be recorded, so you'll be able to see it. I have stretch goals for this because, hey, why not? So there'll be a selection of hats, there'll be a selection of wigs for various people, for various donations.
Like an Elvis wig.
Yeah, I'll be giving the all-staff update where I work with a wig of selection by my boss. Thank you to anyone who is able to help in any way. Thank you.
Great. So, are we to questions?
I want to say
shoot.
personally, but
Yeah.
so over the last few months, really, I've kind of been thinking about making my own sort of tabletop RPG, and it's starting to get to the areas where playtesting could be happening soon. It's called Boundaries, and it's based around what happens if regular people get the power to surpass mortal limits that they have, and kind of the penalties and positive things that come with that. So if you want to be involved in testing that, find me on Twitter. I think am I pointing in the right place, Mitch?
Yeah.
My Twitter handle?
Yeah.
Send me a message on there or on Discord, and I'll hit you up with a playtesting pack when it becomes available.
I would in that as well, trust me.
Do we have any questions, Mitch?
Yeah, we've got a couple.
Okay.
Oh.
The ghost spell wants to know, Phil, what did Silas wear in college?
That's what I was talking about. Because have you seen the stuff that people wear on stage? I mean, there's been leotards, there's been wigs. He did do a pantomime as a dame once as well.
Surely.
So massive chest, and ridiculous heels.
Fair play to you.
Should I continue?
I think. Oh, I think you had like a collection of all the, like for a lot of the costumes,
Yeah.
like sort of like cowboy ones and stuff. Like he has gone through
Whatever the village people ones are.
Yeah. every single member of the village people, including the cop
sailor,
on the motorcycle.
copper, yeah.
Yeah. Everybody.
Yeah, in 3 different forms as well.
Yeah. Also. Definitely.
So Introvert has a very important question.
Okay.
She wants to know what people's favourite cheese is.
You can't do that to me.
Oh.
I've
Not
never
Engel.
really eaten cheese, so I.
Wow.
Unfortunately, I have to abstain from this question. I get the sense.
Do I get to pick 2 cheeses? Can you ask me?
Yeah.
I get the sense I'm going to be given an education in cheese soon enough, which.
Hey, that's a new video.
Yeah.
Shit.
Phil eats cheese. Phil eats cheese. That is a video. If I'd known we were going to do that, I would have said I've never had cheese, just so that you could Pete eats cheese.
I brought some Venezuelan cheeses.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Okay, this could be.
I
That's
actually-
Carlos's
I-
revenge.
I knew, yeah.
I gave Peter and Mitch to taste one of them, and there is another one there in the fridge. But I need to wait for my brother to collect his part before I dive in.
Don't.
No, you don't.
Just don't tell him you've got any.
My mom already did.
Oh.
So I think my favorite cheese might be Guayanese, which is a Venezuelan fresh white cheese. It's very similar to the telita that I have here. So, and there's also queso de mano. They're very different. They're very typical from Venezuela. So let's call Venezuelan white fresh cheese.
Red Leicester.
Crockwell Bishop.
Oh yeah, abstain.
I'm saying.
Mitch,
Yeah, Mitch, you should answer this question.
Three.
Brie.
Yeah. Good choice.
Of course, all about debris.
Tato is also very good.
I feel like this is a difficult. How can you constrain a person to
See,
one
I
cheese?
got away with it.
Does
I
it not
said three.
depend on your mood? You know.
I said 3 cheeses.
I mean, I
like,
can
you know-
eat cheese like it's chocolate, right? So I'm just like in a bar. Like,
I mean, I
Was
suppose.
cutting the cheese.
I suppose a kind of good mature. Oh, what about cave aged cheddar?
oh yes.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would say. But then, things like Borsan and I could go on. I would like to go on. And there's like oak smoked cheese is nice, and F-wood, and then you've got like I like the quite the ones where you have like caramelized onion in them. Or...
I don't like the ones with fruit in them.
I love it.
Oh, well, it depends. Yeah, Wensleydale.
That one
I like
with
Wensleydale. I just don't like it with the fruit in it.
what? I love it with the.
I mean, this is not like
peaches.
tea for me, right?
With
but it's
peach.
close.
So
Blood on the cheddar.
I see this being a.
I was just thinking cheese on the Tamesis, but yeah.
Good on the Tamesis.
Oh man, that was great. Well, we were saying if everyone comes down to visit, if you ever come down to visit and you want to talk about or eat cheese, we are your people. Come down.
We can try and figure
And you
out.
can also help educate Phil at the same time,
Also,
so everyone's a
like,
winner.
talk about Rise of Skywalker, I think.
I'm just going to make my frenzy check. Wait.
Skip that conversation.
Ah! Okay.
Anything else?
Any more for
I have a
anyone?
question I quite want to ask.
Oh! Ooh!
What each of your characters' favourite thing about being a vampire is?
Nothing. Literally nothing.
I believe her. Favorite thing about being kindred.
I know the answer for Velvet.
Shit,
So
yeah,
I'll
yeah, go on.
My favourite thing about being
Adam?
a vampire is Adam.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's an easy one.
Phil, what about you?
For Silas, and having been a stunt trainer and having broken a few bones over time, it is the ability to do that, ow, and heal that. Oh, Lawrence
without a
Payne
painful, long recovery.
Yeah,
being able to get back on the horse.
Yeah. He probably has broken a couple of things during the 10 years instance because that happens.
Yeah, but no one really notices.
Nobody
I mean,
noticed.
you just
I
stand
wonder
up
if
and
I've
dust off
broken more bones than you in the 10 years.
Well, no. He has broken more bones. You have had more bones broken
Yeah.
by somebody else.
By someone else, yeah.
It depends how well you behave, but this is an entirely separate conversation. What about you,
For
Carl?
Theodore is going to be... Sounds boring, but immortality. He has a very... Like, he lived for decades in Asia and under this, like, different culture that really prays. Also old school, like in the 50s and 60s. And so he has this very old, like, philosophy of harmony through perfection, and perfection practice makes perfect. So having immortality so you can perfect your craft, so you can find those points of harmony. It sounds very cliched, but for him it's because of the philosophy that he has of life. So he tries to bring a little bit of harmony to his. Also,
So, Peter, you now need to answer for every single one of your characters.
I have a question that was not asked of today, and it was sacrilegious. What did you guys have for breakfast?
Oh yeah, it wasn't asked. What the? Mitchell.
It was not.
You know it's serious.
It's always.
I mean, he used the full name. So what did you have for breakfast, Phil?
Unfortunately, with my job, I don't technically get to have breakfast. I can have brunch, but I don't technically get the time slot for breakfast because daycare starts or pain after that.
Bex?
I mean, when you get there about 4 o'clock in the morning, it's like too early for breakfast.
Yeah, I mean, it's a new year, right? So I had shitty cereal with fruit. Yeah. I'll be back to toast and egg or something next week. Yeah.
So are we counting breakfast as the first thing you ate before you wake up?
After you wake
After
up.
you wake up?
Because if it's before you wake
I know,
up,
shut up.
you are sleep eating.
I guess in that case it's a bit of shampoo that got in my mouth when I was showering.
For me, it was a sandwich that I made with Venezuelan cheese.
I like the callback to the earlier conversation.
That's
Yeah.
what I was like. I was hoping for the first time, because every time they ask the question, I always say I don't have breakfast, so I always explain my lunch. But today,
The one time you have
even
breakfast.
though, well, I did, if you were counting in Venezuelan time, because I did have my breakfast at 2 in the afternoon. But in my defense, it was like 10 in the morning in Venezuela, so it counts as breakfast. My body clock is
Yeah.
Now it depends. I'm pretty sure it was 3 in the afternoon.
which is almost 11, so it's quite still morning in that side of the world. Peter?
Sausage sandwich.
Yep. And now the universe is complete.
How many of them?
Done.
See, it was bugging me.
So for those that have read the Call of the Blood Gods stuff,
Yes.
Elthanes wants to know your favourite family in the Hecate.
Cappadocian.
Yeah,
Cappadocian
by
is
100
my
miles.
favorite clan together with El Sombra.
Forever.
Cappadocian forever. Come on.
Yeah.
I unfortunately haven't
mean,
had a chance to read it, and I don't mind it back as much. No wonder I can't back it.
I do like
Call
that
of Mythos also.
they did do something which is very, very smart, considering how things turned out in previous editions of, yeah, let's have this number of clans, but then there are so many different people and ways of the blood to manifest. They created endless bloodlines that were, some of them were ridiculous.
Yeah.
And now they just, like, bloodlines are just people of the same clan with slightly different twists, and their approach is usually through a lore sheet or something along those lines. You being from the Hecate, which is now a collection. You should read it. I'm not going to spoil it for you.
Yeah.
But you could have people from, well, effectively, Cappadocians and Giovanni are the same clan.
Nagaraja.
They're Nagaraja, Lamia, Samedi. They are the same clan, but they're different bloodlines of that clan. So you should definitely read it, because it's very interesting how the approach is more cultural.
Also, I like that they ruined the Cappadocians in Old World of Darkness by going,
Yes.
they're a great and awesome clan, so we'll just wipe them all out.
Yeah.
Right, so...
I mean, they were
let's start
broken.
me off
The
on
combination
this.
of disciplines.
Yeah,
Uh-oh, yeah.
They were super broken. They were super broken. I mean, they're just...
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll shut down. But yes, it's nice that they're back. Hopefully they
Oblivion has ceremonies.
Yes.
Okay.
Do we have any more questions?
So I think we've got time for this one short one, which chat want you to say, Peter, how can you constrain a person to just one cheese, but in Seth's voice?
Oh, God.
I love you, Chad.
Okay, I'll try. I have to admit, Seth is far from my thoughts. I know, hard to believe, but I'll try.
Yeehaw.
How can you contain a person to just one cheese?
God dang it.
Yeehaw! Yeah.
You think I am, mother?
So thank you for all of your questions.
Thank you very much.
Right, so I think we're done, aren't we? So let's. So you had. So it's probably about coming up to 10:30 in the evening. There is a light drizzle of rain, but not heavy rain, and a mostly overcast sky as you come to arrive. So your headlights will be reflected on the damp street. So you have come to this address, and it does not take a genius. I should add, by the way, this is a fairly well-lit suburban area. And so stealth checks, I should also say it's lots of very packed in housing here. So stealth checks would be at -1. So you come screeching to a halt. And you will see at the address that you were given, there does seem to be someone. You can't see them very well because of the line of the gate to the front door, but you think you might be able to see someone by the door of the house.
I
feel like whoever this is, we should bundle them into the car.
Yeah, it's basically drop me here and go around. Yep. So I just walk. I just walk straight across the street while he's circling the car around.
I get out as well.
Yeah.
I'm not coming with you. I'm waiting at the gate, so if the police arrive, I can hold them up.
Brilliant.
Okay.
And I just while he's going in a different direction and he's taking Johan with him.
So Silas, just what are you? Because you're the person behind the wheel. What are you doing when Velvet and Theodore get out of the car?
No, it's probably a practice thing to coordinate where I'll circle around. So I'll circle.
So you're going to effectively circle around and then come back.
Turning the car around mostly because we're probably on the opposite side of the thing. So
you start doing that. Joanne, what are you doing? You're sitting in the car.
I know my role. I stay at the back. I stay out of danger.
You are staying out of danger. Are you doing anything? Are you doing anything whilst sitting in the car?
Nope.
Okay. So, you start driving the car to turn it around. You are standing by the gate.
So how far is it between the gate and the door?
Oh, not very far.
Oh, fine. Okay, so we
A couple of meters.
Like we're a couple of undercover police officers that come and...
Oh yeah, you can talk to each other. I mean, it might be, it's not going to be like silent, but you can talk to each other. It could be overheard. So Theodore, you're going through the gate. As you're going through the gate, Velvet, can you give me a just quick wits and awareness roll?
I tell Velvet to, you know what? Just turn around and tell me who's coming. I'm gonna try to sneak in.
I mean, massive fail.
No, that's one success.
Oh no, it's one success. Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever the teeth mean.
No, it's a 10, but it wasn't a critical.
Okay. So, I'll come to you in a moment, Velvet. Theodore, what is your plan?
I just want to approach the person that's in the ground.
Okay. So you push open the gate. The gate, I should say, is not in the best of care. There is peeling paint on it. The garden, again, has not been looked after particularly. Mm-hmm. It's just been left to grow a little bit wild. And there's not much flowers. It's mainly just weeds and a bit of grass.
Okay.
And the address that you're at it seems like it's whereas most of the houses here do look like they're tended to some degree. This is not like lots of people being super proud of their homes here in this street. But nevertheless, this is markedly worse than the others.
Okay.
You're not sure anyone actually lives at this house at the moment by the look of it.
Okay.
So you push the gate open. You can see pretty much immediately that there is a body has been dumped on the front step, and they're effectively leaning against the door. They have quite a lot of blood on them.
I just do an assessment of the wounds.
Okay, do you have any medicine?
No. I have a lot of melee and brawl and firearms.
Okay. So you begin to have a quick look at the bodies to try and determine what might have happened to them.
I usually cause similar wounds.
So, Velvet, you will see someone coming in a hurry. Well, sorry, you will see that someone is watching you from across, like from another house.
Yep.
And after a few moments, they disappear from the window.
Okay, I head over to the house.
You start heading that way.
I tell Theo.
Brilliant.
What do you say?
Oh, sorry. Theodore, there's someone saw this out of the window, or someone saw us out of the window. I'm heading straight over the road.
Excellent.
So you start...
I just turn around to gauge on the whereabouts he's walking, because probably we've done similar things. He's talking to people, taking care of things. I'm taking care of the body.
So Velvet starts crossing the road. You'll feel the kind of the drizzle of rain just pattering, not enough to soak you through, but just that slightly kind of it's just
I hate about this world.
everything is just it doesn't know whether it's going to rain or not. It's this naff in the middle.
Fucking country is so goddamn indecisive.
Yeah.
You've turned the car around and you are driving back. The thing you will ascertain at a fairly quick look is it looks like they've been treated quite roughly, like they've got quite a few scratches and things. I mean, you're no expert, but it just looks like there's some kind of violence involved. Mm-hmm. But the prominent thing you will see is they have multiple bite marks on their neck. And they look extremely pale. And some of the blood from those bite marks has bled down.
Okay.
Some of the bite marks are cleaner than others.
Okay. I am.
But even at a very quick look, you're able to say this looks like a vampire.
Yeah. I mean,
it is glaringly obvious.
Not just the two pinpricks of the fangs. It's just the whole mouth.
Yeah.
Bite mark. So it was also like vicious. So it's a good thing that he's just turning the car around, because I will just grab the guy.
Okay.
Because is he breathing?
So
I just put like.
So it takes you a few moments, but yes, you will feel a very faint pulse. They are currently still alive.
I take off my tie. I sort of like start thumping it, and when they turn the car around, I signal.
Okay. So one second. So you're pulling up. He is signaling you. I will come back to you three collectively in a second. Velvet, you've crossed the road. And as you're approaching the house, the front door opens.
Yep.
And a middle-aged man comes out. He's got what looks like a dressing gown over pajamas.
Is he the person I saw?
Yes, okay. He's the person you saw in the window. And he says, are you police?
Right. We're just arrived on the scene, but can we go inside? Because this is
Oh yes, come in.
Down scene right now.
Yes, of course, come in.
I shut the door behind me.
So you go in and you shut the door, and as you're shutting the door, you and all of you will start to hear the faint sound of sirens in the distance. So I'll come back to you in a second, Velvet. So you've pulled up. You're signaling.
Calling Dr. Pepper. We have someone here that needs your attention.
If you keep calling me that, I'm going to call you by different names of pens.
Go!
So, Joanne, what are you doing?
I mean,
Just go! We haven't got time for this shit right now.
Fine, get out and...
So with a little bit of help from your Silas, you exit the car and you make your way to this person.
When she's approaching, he's like, I wouldn't have called you if he wasn't, like, he's barely alive. Can you patch him while we take him?
While we walk, possibly, just... We need to get him out of here. You can hear the sirens.
Yep. Tell me how to move.
So you don't need to
just follow instructions.
You don't need to roll Joanne to know that this person will need blood, or they're going to die, and they need it imminently. So you need to get them to a place. Whether that is just dropping them at a hospital, or whether that is going to your own surgery, which will have blood supplies, is your call. They will also need, obviously, urgent care. They are in critical condition.
I show her the bite marks.
Oh, for God's sake. Right, get him in the car. I think regular hospitals can't deal with this. I'll need to.
Okay, so
how are you getting... So you're going to...
I just call the other guy that's going to help me with the stretcher. Between the two of us, we'll carry the guy.
Yeah. So Silas, you're going to... So between the two, yes, it's very easy for you to get. So you where are you putting this blood-stained... dying individual.
It's a colour that is of course prepped for these
Probably
things. So,
in the back seat.
yeah.
Yep, back seat, and I send them both, and then I just, with the rain, I just stayed behind with Velvet.
So you're not leaving.
I'm not.
We need to find who did this.
Yes, exactly. But
Okay.
they have to save the person. So
Okay. So as the sirens are starting up,
I knock on the door. He went into.
so you're going to head across to where Velvet is. Okay, well, I'll catch up with Velvet first. You're driving away, are you?
And I'm doing whatever emergency first aid I can to this poor fucker.
Yeah, excellent. Can you make a quick intelligence plus medicine
That's a disgusting pool, right?
for me?
Some driving, so I can't-
Whilst you're doing that, Velvet,
Yes.
you're now inside the house with this guy. It's quite a small house. It's a bit cluttery. There's a lot of stuff in it. Doesn't seem to be organised in any particular...
Different places this small.
yeah, it is pokey.
Yeah.
It is pokey. But it's clean and much better than the place you just found that body at. So what did you get, Joanne?
Well, so far 4 successes and a reroll.
Okay.
4 successes?
4
Cool.
successes.
We'll come back to you then. He says, I saw everything.
Well, do I have anything on me I can write with? Or I've got my phone, I can record what he's saying.
Yeah, you can record it on your phone.
So I'll get my phone out, I'll say, wait a minute, I'll need to record this as your statement.
Oh, yes, of course.
You
of
have a
course.
place we can go sit down?
Yes, of course.
Oh wait, that's going to be my colleague, Officer Smith.
Oh.
Go get the door.
Right. Okay, so you go to... He just stands there a bit like, oh, right, okay.
I
And you...
open the door, presumably to you.
Yeah, that's me.
I say, Officer Smith, it's
Yeah, the ambulance took out.
I'm just interviewing our key witness here.
Yeah.
Why don't you come on in when you're ready?
Yeah. Can I where can I wash my hands? I was helping the
I'll
paramedics.
point you through to the.
Yeah, I just
Yes, he'll point you through to a bathroom.
wash my thing.
So 1 second. So you go in to wash your hands.
So I encourage him to sit down.
He will sit down. Yeah.
I'll say. So what was it you saw? And tell me everything. Start from the beginning.
There was some kind of fight across the street, and I saw this. She can't. I mean, she wasn't that tall, but she fought like a wildcat.
A wildcat, really?
It was like nothing I've ever seen. She was just laying into it. It was awful.
You don't have a teenage daughter, right? Because I've seen them fight, and that is not.
I don't think she. I'm not sure her age exactly. I think it was. I think she was a grown woman.
Right.
She looked that way.
But she was fighting with who? Who did you? What did this other?
I could barely make them out because she had them against the door. It was awful. She was some man. I mean, but it wasn't like they weren't arguing or shouting. They were just. She was laying into him, and he was trying to defend himself, and then she was scratching and biting, and it was horrendous. Horrendous.
It sounds not great at all, but it's we think that sometimes these things are linked to drugs in the area. So it's.
Oh, it could be.
I mean, you know what folks are like when they get that stuff in their system. They can behave like anything at all.
It's, would you like me to give you a description?
Sure, absolutely.
Right.
I just come out and stay silent.
So one thing, Theodore, when you are washing your hands, you're aware that. So you're focusing on your hands, but just in your upper periphery of your vision, things have got more distorted than they used to be. Feels as if the light bends into the mirror more in the center than it used to. But you don't look, I'm assuming, or do you?
I just...
You can almost hear Meliori's voice suggesting that you probably should, but she's not here right now, so it's up to you.
I have to, because I have to compose I have to check myself. I don't like what I see.
It's also quite hard to check yourself as efficiently as you could because your reflection isn't quite right. And also, there is something about your eyes now that you feel like it's not quite you looking out of that mirror. And there is something that when you look, it's very hard to look away. Like it kind of draws you in some sense. Nevertheless, you compose yourself and you come back out.
If you have a description.
Oh, yes. Yes. Well, she was a young lady, and she had short hair, in those sort of bobs that are quite fashionable.
All right.
You know,
what you mean.
a bit like, well, they used to be when Friends used to be on. And
But you know that show has had something of a resurgence, right?
well, obviously it's never off the television,
Right,
but
exactly.
but yes, back in the day, and
Was her hair sort of dusty blonde?
I would say quite a yes, quite a dusty blonde.
And I just give a look to Velvet. As in, both of us know it was Sally, of course.
I'll say Officer Smith. This perpetrator might be known to Officer Smith. He works the narcotics squad. Wait, you call it that here?
Yes, it's...
Narcotics?
Oh right.
We're liaisons. It's Interpol DEA. So, basically, we have a lead. Could we trust you with something?
Yes.
I believe Mr.
Oh, White.
I believe Mr. White has to be slightly brought into the fold so he does not
I think that's
blow the whistle.
I think that's a good idea.
There is an internal affairs. We believe there is corruption in the police, so that's why
Knew it.
they're taking foreigners for this job. As you can see,
That's why the two of us, right?
coming from
Oh my goodness. Well, yes. Well, I'm not surprised. Oh yes. Quite.
We think this individual is dangerous because.
Oh yes, she looked very dangerous.
Absolutely.
Very dangerous indeed.
But that's why we need to get a hold of her so we can get this drug off the street.
Well, I can always keep an. Obviously, if she happens to come back into this area, I'll. Oh, is there a? Should I just call a station, or is there a special number I should call for this?
Actually, there
investigation?
is a special number,
Officer
and I
Smith.
just produce like a small piece of paper or a little notebook in which I write down one of the sort of burner, generic burner you give to kind to call.
Fine.
If you see her at any point, call.
Oh, I will call you straight.
And I write Officer Smith.
And I'll ask for Officer Smith. Thank you. He'll take the paper.
And make sure you don't open the door to her because she's dangerous, right? If you see her around here, you just call Officer Smith and he'll send someone right on over to deal with it. Don't try to approach her yourself.
Oh no, I wouldn't dream of it.
Right.
She was so dangerous, very dangerous.
Yeah, right, absolutely.
And let's see, what else?
I just approach the window and see if the police is around.
He says, "Oh, I think." No, it's all right.
No, it's all right. Go on. Everything can be important.
There was something odd about her. About her skin. I couldn't put my finger on what it was.
Well, some of these addicts, they don't eat good. They have sort of pale skin.
Right.
I don't know.
Anemic, maybe.
Did she look sort of anemic?
Yes, I think she did look. She did look
I'm
pale.
probably too far away to see track marks or anything like that, but it's not uncommon. They don't have a good diet. They don't have a good lifestyle, so they can sometimes look pretty unpleasant, right?
Right. Yes. Yes.
And I check to see if, like, do you recognize either of those? When the police probably are trying to look for something.
The police have arrived. They have parked outside and they are starting to move around. There is also an ambulance here as well.
Who?
There's an ambulance here as well.
Like, why did they send another one?
Oh, it don't make no sense.
I should go and talk to them.
Well, you're talking to us.
Well, yes, but won't they want to know what's going on?
Well, I have your statement here. That's fine.
Also,
Right.
remember, internal affairs investigation. We're not internal affairs, but we're not going to tell you not to talk to them, but you would be potentially jeopardizing another investigation. We're separate. We're just narcotics.
Right.
Right.
But we will deliver your statement.
Can you make just a quick subterfuge?
Yep. Sure.
I give her, I believe, a success
with
because I have
manipulation?
subterfuge plus cover-ups.
That's
Yes.
a rating of 3.
So you can use your specialty for this, and you also get a bonus success just because Theodore is helping you.
So I get.
And I will lower the difficulty because it was a,
Does my
you did nice tag team.
specialty gives me a dice.
Yes.
You give me a dice.
A
No, I give
success.
Success.
Yeah, because we have homebrew rules. If someone's skilled, they can provide more than just a die.
Apart from that, it's manipulation and subterfuge.
Yes.
Nothing else.
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4,
5.
5,
6 with the one I give.
6.
He folds the paper up, makes a very crisp crease, and he says, I will keep this safe, and I will keep an eye out of the window.
You were doing good service to your country, man.
Thank you. And I'm so glad that we have good people on the streets to set right their corrupt police.
Yes,
This sort of thing is absolutely pivotal to the special relationship between our countries.
definitely.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. And you assumedly leave at that point.
Yeah.
Champion bullshitters, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Call a taxi.
yeah.
Even when we're a few streets ahead, is just
Yeah.
call a taxi. And
Okay.
when we get home, eventually I'll
So,
let them.
So you begin your journey home. Obviously, if there's stuff you want to talk about, I'll give you the opportunity in a minute, but I want to come back to these two. Silas, you're in a familiar situation because you came here in a terrible rush. Now, assumedly, you're going home in a terrible rush.
Not quite as fast, because of course do not want to adjust the body in the back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
So just give me a quick drive again. It's just because this person's survival. Oh, what was the final result of your 4 successes? Okay, that's good. So essentially, between your drive and her successes, you need enough successes to keep them alive to get to stabilize them at the surgery. That's basically the point.
Thank you.
Don't you risk it.
Oh.
Down to you.
So you're driving, the rain spraying off your tires.
The thing is that he has a 10 on the hunger die. That's why we're like,
Risk it.
nice.
4 successes.
Nice.
Fine. You make good time back. You do, of course, your best job to keep them in the best position, to stem the bleeding as best as possible. You're making sure their airways are clear, all those kinds of things. You get back, assumedly immediately rush to the surgery.
You know
to
the drill.
start-
Get him up in there. I'll gather the blood bags. Come on.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, yes, you're strong enough, Silas, to do it. If you want to do it with, you can just do it.
Yeah.
So you get them in.
I'll go,
You get them to
go
the-
to my freezer, push the body aside.
Yeah, so there's a moment when you open the freezer to reach for and you have to reach past the staked body in the freezer of a young, a sort of woman in her mid-20s. But it's not the first time you've had to do it. So you take the blood, you close the freezer, you go back to work. I am going to require one more roll for you. This time it is Dex plus medicine
My specialty?
plus... well, you're not performing surgery, I believe, in this instance, so no. But you will get a bonus for the surgery itself.
Can I aid with that as I do have some medicine?
Yes, you can.
I will give you one
One
additional
die from Silas and 1 die from the surgery.
It's the 10 dice pool.
Discuss.
Why you need a coterie with a bona fide surgeon in it.
Oh, fuck me.
Well, yeah, you will definitely need to willpower that.
Jeez.
Oh, for God's sake.
So with practice speed, Joanne will begin tending. You, of course, know little bits and you're able to be useful. So 3 successes. Okay.
Sometimes the dice fuck you.
Yeah, I know.
So
It's probably a practice. It's probably initially a general practice thing where they've probably done this thing before. Joanne stars and silence.
so it will start. You'll start to become aware.
Kind to the surgery to save them.
You'll start to become aware that things are not going well.
Plan B this. Plan B.
Your choice.
Okay, so you're going to feed them some of your blood.
I went hungry from that.
So with Joanne's help, because obviously they're unconscious, and generally drinking blood for a human is not an awesome thing, but you will be able to get your blood into them nevertheless. And not only will that, and of course vampiric blood is of another order to, so it's not just that they're getting some extra blood from a transfusion or something like that, they are now getting vampiric blood, and that their kind of healing will begin to improve slightly. It's not like they've been fully ghouled, they're not going to be like, but it nonetheless will enable you to have a retry to save their life.
And that was going to make me go up 1 level of hunger.
So you're on 2 or 3?
Oh no, I'm now on 3.
You're now on 3, good. So it occurs to Silas, just starts to begin to occur to Silas, like,
It was worth it.
there isn't much blood in this person. It's a bit sad.
I mean, I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, I think you will need to.
Fuck's sake.
Oh my god.
Same.
3 again.
Okay.
I'm rolling a pool of 10 dice here.
So,
Oh my god.
You need to do what I did. I put my dice away and roll other dice until they became envious.
Dice shaming.
okay. So, here
I feel you.
Here are your options, Joanne, and they are limited at this stage. You're basically battling to keep this person alive. Their body has suffered so much trauma and lost so much blood that it would stop working if you weren't there to make the heart go, to make them kind of hang on some level. You know that if you stop doing what you're doing, you know, the chances are that they will just pass on. So one option potentially is to try and feed them more blood, vampiric blood that is, because their primary problem is blood loss. However, the more of it you feed them, the more possible consequences there could be. You could take a very unethical stance, which is you could, if you want to actually speak to them or anything like that, you could try and do it, but it will decrease their chance of survival, or pretty much guarantee their death. You could try and you could just try and make it as merciful and quiet and calm an ending as possible. You could try some kind of really radical, crazy, invasive surgery, but you know if you do that, not only will it be a much higher difficulty, but they will be dead at your own hand if you fail. So it's your call. But they are slipping away from you, despite your best efforts. Mm-hmm. Even Silas's blood is not enough to keep them in on its own. What would you like to do?
I need to look at something quickly.
So, Velvet and Theodore, you are back in a cab, driving back.
We need to find Sally.
Definitely.
You don't think she could have been still in the house? What if she passed out?
Actually, we are in her domain, right?
You're right.
Yes, you will know.
Yeah, I tell the driver just to turn left here to drive us to Sally's.
Okay, I don't know if you will know where Sally's address is.
I certainly won't know.
Oh no. No.
You'll know where her domain is, but you don't know where she sleeps. You don't know her haven, because most
Do we have her
kindred...
phone number? No. Joanne probably does.
Joanne is otherwise engaged, right? You don't. Did you check the house? You don't. She wasn't in the house. Did that?
Well, right now the police is right there, so when they leave and the area is
Right.
less.
But what I'm thinking is, if she is there, then we might have a different situation on our hands. Or if she's there and she's not conscious, we could end up with a worse situation. It's harder to contain.
Actually, let's tell the driver. Let's go and tell Sir Helder what we know.
Right.
So we go to Sir Helder's actually.
So it's not far to Holders from here.
That's good.
So you make your way over there, and you'll find yourself at this kind of isolated farmhouse. You will be admitted in because obviously it's known that you're on business, and by Pietro, who of course is this man with like no hair on his head but lots of hair on his chin. He's quite sort of stocky and solid and a bit ruddy skinned, and generally doesn't say much. He tends to grunt at you, which is what he does now. You'll be taken into the big hall that's very kind of clear, and suddenly it has that kind of TARDIS-like effect of seeming bigger on the inside than the farmhouse looks on the outside. So Holder will be sitting as she normally is when you encounter her, kind of waiting for you. So she, by the way, is extremely pale, has very pale blonde hair and a sort of moon-shaped face where her sort of chin and nose look like they want to kind of meet in the middle somewhere. And it has a sort of generally a very kind of calm, but not always pleasant demeanour about her. So she will say, "Welcome."
I bow low, Sir Helder.
I buy like however I normally buy.
Okay,
However they
you
buy.
bow less low,
Yeah.
but you bow.
Yeah.
She says, "You have news?"
Indeed.
The first part of the breach is dealt with, but there's more troubling news.
I assume that it was Miss Hurg on a frenzy.
I see.
We have
A witness.
right. We've dealt with. We have the mortal who we're in the process of dealing with, but we do not have Sally right now.
Would it be worth trying to get the messenger to summon her?
Yes, but if she is... Yes, I will dispatch the messenger to find her, but you should be contactable. The messenger may require assistance if Sally is not in a state of mind for discussion.
Right.
Will be.
At your
Wait.
disposal.
Good.
And then we make arrangements just to go to.
So you'll be heading back.
Yeah.
Shooting breeze in the car or something.
Yeah.
I think so. As Joanne's kind of like trying her best and Silas in the same room, I assume. Like,
Yep.
Yeah.
how much is this worth to you?
It's your call. Do you want me
That's not what I asked. Answer me.
to same as always. Help him if I can, but if not, I'll spare them the pain. Just tell me what to do. You know I hate this as much as you do.
Could you go for one more round of your blood? I can try once more, and I'll use what powers I have. And you will know she has never done this before.
I will need feeding after this, but sure.
I'll help with that, whatever.
So once more, you give your blood, and you're starting to feel like some part of you, because obviously you as a vampire, you push the blood with your will from the vein, and it feels wrong. This is the wrong way for blood to go. It should go the other way, and there is that instinctive part of you that doesn't quite. But you can master that.
Yeah.
But you're aware you're having to battle yourself a little to make the blood come out. Joanne obviously will support the heads.
And I'm activating fleetness for this.
Okay, so you need to rouse for that. When a 10 dice pool isn't enough.
If I don't drop my dice on the floor, we go.
But you don't go hungry.
So, do you want to check to see if you go hungry, Silas?
Oh, that's a rouse check for it.
It's a rouse check, yeah, because you're giving some blood to this person.
That's actually
I
rouse
need,
You
check.
are-
I need one more dice.
Yeah.
So
Sorry, what did...
Your celerity.
I didn't roll for the first one.
Oh, okay.
I just rolled twice, so one successful failure, so I'll be on
Hunger
40.
Because you were on hunger 3.
I wasn't hunger 3 because I put on myself up hunger 3 because it didn't rouse for that.
Oh, you just automatically gave it. Oh no, so you'd rouse. So you're on hunger 3.
Yeah,
Fine.
right.
That's looking better, like a lot better. That's 1, 2, 3.
So
4,
this
5,
time,
6.
when Joanne goes to work,
7.
there is a difference. She's always focused. This has been a very rushed thing, but there is just a kind of a surety and a swiftness. What it feels like to you is when you're watching a master performer doing their work, they're moving quickly, but there is a sense of every movement being kind of thought through and carefully placed. So there is something like she's moving differently. She's doing delicate acts and careful acts, but she's doing them very quickly, very confidently. So what do we get this time?
7.
Okay. So
Disgusting. The type of roll that it was, you deserved it.
So obviously the difficulty has been going up with every attempt. And 7 was what you needed.
Oh yeah, because it was 5, 6, 7. Wow.
Yeah, it was 5, 6, 7, quite literally. So, you are
I
aware.
don't need that die. That is a bad luck die.
You are aware that you have performed something of a miracle. Like, if there was anybody of sufficient qualification here, they'd be like, amazing, how did you do this? But you have managed to do it. Although you are certain that without Silas's donations of blood, you would have failed. You're also aware that this is the first time you've operated using the blood to help you, and it was different. And
Did you also use your microscopic eyesight?
it suddenly occurs to you the things you could do that you couldn't do before in terms of surgery. There are possibilities now opening, unfolding in your mind. Nevertheless, their heart rate has stabilized, and you believe they will survive the night.
As she finishes up and just stands back. Thank you, Silas.
Well done, Doctor.
I need to be alone. I'm sorry. She just walks out and goes to her room.
Okay, so you go for some alone time.
Yeah.
What is Silas doing?
Silas, at this point, just having some business, does have his walkie-talkie on him.
Yeah?
But is kind of just watching, watching the patient and waiting for.
Okay. So you're watching the patient, you're in your room. You two are heading back towards the...
Hayden, yes.
Okay, so you haven't quite got back yet. You are on your way. Let me just make a quick Messenger Sally roll. Okay. Silas, there is a tap on the door.
Yes.
You hear Vance's voice. It says, can I come in, sir?
Sure.
So Vance steps into the room. He says, there's been a slight development.
Oh, what's the?
He says, whilst you were all out, I didn't realise you'd come back. Sorry, sir. We've been a little distracted. There was someone trying to get in. We got them. They didn't get very far. But I thought you'd want to know, sir. And wonder what you'd like us to do with them.
Are they secure?
Oh, yes.
Kind of kindred. Kind of kindred.
Oh, sorry, sir. Yes, they're kind, sir.
Right. What state is this individual in?
Conscious but nervous, sir.
The best kind of state.
The best. The best.
The best.
And where are you keeping him at the moment? Him or her?
It's a he, and his name is Mr. Lawson, or Kevin Lawson. We've found out that much. He's a little bit confused, if I'm honest, sir.
God, that's your guy.
I got a little business going on, but I'm sure the others will be back. We'll be back shortly.
So you wish us to just keep him here for now?
Yes, keep him out. Have you taken? I assume you've taken all those anything that you in contact with people with at the moment.
He gives you the... Oh, don't worry about that, sir.
And
That's rocks.
It's like a mini Theo.
And
He does drink my blood.
it's because I don't know, but Silas would probably know what is Theodore's stance on a slight peckish from the ghoul.
Well, it's if you are ravenous, go to the fridge,
Yeah, but
and then go to kind. Yeah, because the hungrier you are, the worse it is to go hunting because you are more prone to do mistakes. So probably satiate some of it from our mini blood bank from the surgery.
yeah.
And then probably go to kind. But if you're not super hungry and you can stave it off from the fridge, cool. If not, go for the guy as well, depending on how hungry you are.
Yeah, I'm hungry, so I'd probably go for a slight. Ask Vance for a slight snack, because just in case.
You're asking Vance to feed, if you can feed on him.
Yes.
He says, yes, sir, if that's what you need.
Thank you.
He will offer you his arm. He'll roll back, take off his jacket, and he'll roll up his sleeve.
Just check see if because I'm pretty sure the patient is unconscious, but just double check.
Oh yeah, they're very unconscious. I mean, they've kind of like skated the edge of death several times,
Yeah.
and now they've just about got stable. Yeah, yeah. It's been a bad night, but they are alive.
Been a wild ride.
Silas will delicately take one.
Sure. So you feed from him.
And of course, you give him the night off.
He braces himself.
Yeah.
Well, so do you say anything afterwards? So after you're done.
Yeah. Thank you. I was going to do the standard thing of being the wound, making sure he's right, and yeah. That likely Theodore will want to deal with this particular one.
Right, you are, sir. I'll wait for him. So, Joanne, you have some peaceful, quiet time. Velvet and Theodore, of course, when you get back.
Anything but peaceful in her own mind, but yeah.
Yes. Peaceful outside.
Yep.
Peaceful outside.
While we're on the way back, when we get back, like just before we get into this, Velvet will say to Theo, when this is over, I need your advice about something.
Yeah, sure thing.
It's not the time now, but it's a difficult situation. I think probably you're the only person who can understand.
Everything all right? Doesn't look like it.
No, not really. But it's easier to bring it up when there's no one else around. So, sometime after this is sorted out.
Yeah,
Can wait.
it's okay. You can come by the house. It's just Miyuki and myself, so
Sure.
we can have a quiet chat.
All right.
Cool.
And then we get back.
And then we keep conversation to a minimum while in the taxi, while we get to the Haven.
Okay.
Kind of like everything's been said silence.
All right. So, you get back. When you get back, a fairly pale-looking Vance will be there to meet you. And when you come inside, he will say, there was a slight disturbance, but we've contained it. They're waiting for you. Someone was trying to get in.
I'll handle this one. Check on Joanne and the others.
Sure. I'll do that.
Okay.
I just walk with him.
Okay, sure. So he will take you into a...
I ask him for a briefing.
Okay, so he will just say then...
Yeah, what he told Silas, including that he was fed up on.
He says, there was a man, after you left, not too long after you left, sir, we caught someone trying to get onto the premises. They were taking photographs. He says, but the camera and the individual have been stopped and are awaiting your attention, sir. He says, He says they didn't put up that much of a fight. He says it was a little odd, sir, if I'm honest.
Understood. When I get in, do I recognize the guy?
No. because Kevin Rawlins, I think, was the name of the guy who you went to see. This is Kevin Lawson.
Oh, Lawson. Okay.
The world is full of Kevins. What can I say?
Okay, he's a different Kevin.
Yeah, different Kevin.
One Kevin in an RPG game?
I know, it's outrageous.
Because I think I scared.
Oh, you scared the hell out of... Yeah.
The other Kevin.
Yes,
so
you did. You terrified him.
It's gonna be similar.
Yeah, it's like a redux. Okay, so you find a man probably in his late 20s. He's wearing kind of walking boots, kind of outdoor clothes, a waterproof with the hood. The hood has been pulled back. He does not look like he has been badly beaten up.
That's good.
He does look very nervous. He is not currently tied up or restrained.
Yeah, he's just like
He's just been sat on a chair and
by private security.
Yeah,
so
and-
he's probably very shook. Okay.
yes. And before you go, when you're kind of in the door, Vance will show you basically a box where they have put pertinent stuff. So things like his camera, his phone, his wallet, that kind of thing.
Quickly check the wallet.
Okay.
Any pictures?
He will have a driving license, and that will match.
Okay. Any pictures, thingies, mementos, basic, not the usual.
Yeah, I mean he does have a picture of another man there, but you don't recognise them.
I just walk to him. It's like, evening, Mr. Lawson.
Yes.
I hope you have not been mistreated while in our care.
No. I want to apologise for my behaviour.
Why were you
I'm very sorry.
creeping outside? What happened?
He takes a breath to speak. At this point, you will get... who will get a call? Joanne, you will get a call.
Of course. First point of contact.
Are you answering the call?
Yeah. Do I recognise?
Yes,
Person
it's
calling?
Druty.
Then yeah.
She'll say, hello, Joanne.
Hello.
I have a slight situation. I've been asked to bring someone to Saholder to bring a message. I have delivered the message, but the recipient is not very accepting of the message and is being difficult. I was wondering if the Southern Beam could handle the escort.
I think we've just dealt with the fallout of that. So I'll pass the message on. Thank you, Druty. I hope you're keeping well.
Yes, I am. I'm also keeping my distance. She will give you another address, which is actually not, which is also in the area. It's in Upton. It just wasn't the exact address you had before.
Okay.
So I will text that to Silas. I'm not leaving my bedroom.
Okay. So Silas, you get that text.
I will pass on.
It's just a short text, and it's like, Druty delivered message to Sally. Went feral. Here's her address.
Basic stuff.
Probably incentive to both these two as
Sure.
exiting and making sure that I'm grabbing the weapons.
So Kevin is just starting to speak when that text will come through for both of you. What's Velvet's action? Just
Yeah, so I was on my way to speak to either of these two, but if I've read this message, then I
I am
will.
literally on the way out.
yeah, you'll probably see Silas at the point.
Yeah.
You'll get the message and you'll see him.
Yeah, so I will assume that Joanne's not coming, and I will make a beeline for Theo in case, because I don't know he's been texted. So
Sure.
yeah.
Are you staying with Velvet at this point?
But I'm then intending to leave.
Okay, fine.
I'll get the car ready with the usual weapons.
All right, I'll be out in a minute.
So you set off. So he says, I don't know what came over me. I'm not normally like this.
How are you normally like?
A reasonable, person, and I'm sorry to have caused trouble. I didn't realise it would be a problem. I didn't want to offend anyone. I'm wondering
Why were you doing it?
He
Mitch, I think I know why.
begins to look a bit sweaty. He says, I don't know. I don't want to. Can we just say that I meant nothing by it? If we could just leave. If I could just leave, you can keep the camera. I won't.
The camera helps. Not that I want the camera itself. I just want the pictures you were taking.
Yes.
But I need to know that you will never be doing this again.
Oh, you have my word. I wouldn't dream of it.
Whatever drove you to do it doesn't drive anybody else to repeat it. It is not just the present I am concerned about. It's also the future. Do you like the future? Do you see yourself in it?
Yes.
Let's keep it that way. What drove you to do what you did?
I was going to say social combat, but you know what? It's fine.
I can feel this guy getting crushed right now. I'm the opposite side of that.
So it's at this point, Velvet, and so you will arrive. So you'll hear the tail end of it.
Probably one of the guys is outside.
Yeah.
And Vance is with me inside.
Yeah.
I'll knock and walk in at the same time.
Yeah. Okay. So this guy does not, to a credit for your ability to scare people, take his eyes off you. So he doesn't. So you see the man as described sitting in the room. He looks like he's sweating under the lamp-like gaze of Theo. He says, I was told to come and do it. I was told to come in and take pictures of this place, as many pictures as I could of the different rooms, and to be thorough, to take pictures of, especially around the main door and the back door.
You're hearing
and
Right.
when I had taken all of those pictures, to go out to the park a couple of streets away and wait.
Oh, should we go to the park? I mean, I know we gotta go elsewhere, but I want to take him to the park.
Yes.
And see who we meet, right?
Yes. Can you describe
like
the person
searching
who
for treasure.
told you all this? Can you describe the person?
He frowns.
And shits himself.
Says- I don't.
Got it.
He says, it was dark. I don't know. I didn't know them. They just came and talked to me, and then the next thing I knew, they gave me this camera, and then I was here, and I don't know. He was maybe. I don't know. He was maybe 30-something. He shrugs. I'm not sure.
Okay, then let's do something. And I look at Vance. I see him a little pale. He's like, I will have a short chat. And then I believe that trip to the park is going to happen. But in the interest of your safety, you're going to be accompanied by one of my security detail.
I don't know why. I know this sounds ridiculous. I don't want to insult your intelligence, please. I don't want to insult you. I just wanted to say.
I don't know how this person, and I start making that, you know, when you start putting the idea on somebody else's head. I don't know what this person has on you. I don't know what he threatened you with or blackmail you to it. Don't worry about it. That's not what I want to know. We have had this in the past. And everybody is being threatened in a way or another. You're not guilty. That's why I'm sending security with you.
Okay.
Probably myself as well. Okay. So we can put an end to this. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Yo, chief negotiator, we gotta go, right?
And I go out, close the door. It's like, what happened?
We got a message from Sir Holden.
Oh,
Come on.
And
We
I
got a
checked.
text
I checked the
message.
text.
Yeah, you get the text. It's there.
Silas has got the car going.
Okay, but this is someone that's trying to break.
I know. Well, do you want to go with Silas and I'll stay here and deal with this? Because Sally, and because Judy is with the messenger. Judy is with
Sally,
and Sally is not being compliant. So that's much more of a you thing than it is a me thing. It's you and Silas thing, right?
Well, sort of. It's more of a Joanne. I'm working towards the car.
Well,
It's more of a Joanne
you
thing.
want me to
but
go knock on her door?
she's-
Because she ain't coming right now.
Well, she sent in text messages. Probably she's still exhausted.
I would guess so, right?
What happened to the kind that we brought in?
Just as is in the car, the 2 doors are open already. In the surgery, Joanne, he'll be okay. Joanne's a freaking medical genius. You all know that.
When we're driving out, I asked him to stop and signal the other watchman, not
Yep.
Vance, the other
Yes.
watchman.
Yeah, he'll come over.
Tell Vance to feed our guest. Sit him on a nice couch with a TV. I mean, we have the luxury in the hotel. On a nice couch with a TV, and you tell him that we are making sure that nothing happens to him. Tell Vance to take the rest of the night off.
Okay, so he will go and do that.
I text Joanne,
Yep.
which it just says, how are you doing?
Okay.
I'm trying to think how I'm trying to think of how she'd respond to that. So.
Yeah, sure. So you are going where? To the...
To the address that we were given, so probably to meet Rudy.
Okay.
It's like, did you read the stuff?
Yeah, your case in the back has mine.
Really?
So, a short...
I feel very pleased between these two very sturdy chaps.
Sure.
You're probably, I'm guessing you're in the back and Theo's always in the front.
I'm always in the front. Wait a minute.
I'm in the front.
I'm in the front.
I'm in the front. The casino had to come
Now
out.
we've got the right focus on the emergency.
I think the important thing is who is in the front. That's what we want to know. We don't care about all this other stuff. Who is in the front?
Shoot easier. Like the front window is bigger, so I can shoot things from.
Do you want to make a persuasion social combat or some other kind of social combat with each other? What's your...
It's just I just open up and show the guns. It's easier to shoot, but like this is easier. You know?
Well, I mean, if you have
This
that lack of
combination
confidence
has
in your
taken
ability,
part several times over the.
Yes.
if Theo is not confident in his ability to shoot from the back,
I go like,
I'm not. I'm gonna roll Shambo you for it.
come on. Yang Kempo. Yang Kempo. Yang Kempo. And I sit reluctantly in the back.
A long-suffering Silas pulls out. So
So Sarah's probably still laughing at this bullshit.
you...
I mean, this is like a random, like an average Thursday night for us, probably.
Right. Yeah.
So, essentially, you will drive to this address, to cut a long story short. You will find the duty is there. And she will tell you that Sally is inside. And Sally is refusing. Oh, sorry. I should say it's going to be at a pub. It's where Sally is, called Slugs.
Oh,
Many people at the pub.
It's quite a popular, busy sort of student clientele. Yeah, quite loud. There's music, lots of banter, young people, and very cheap booze.
Okay, I just go inside.
Okay.
do the same.
So I assume you're looking for Sally and heading her way. You will find her. She's not too hard to find. She's currently not sitting with anybody, although she's sitting at a table that looks like it could seat lots of people.
I'll sit next to her.
She looks kind of thunderous. She, for the people who are kind of, oh yeah, who was Sally again? She's looks to be in her mid-20s. She's about 5'5". She has dyed blonde hair in a bob. She has a roundish face and wears glasses, and currently is wearing a kind of a polo neck with a jacket over it and leggings. And she will just look at you when you both come in, and then says, "What?"
Hey there. Well, I mean, I think you pretty well know what, right?
Hello, Sally.
Yeah.
And I just sit next to her. And probably he's flanking her. Sitting off.
I hate this pub, and now I'm here.
What's wrong with this pub? This is a good pub.
I mean,
You know why we're here, right?
you know why we're here.
No.
Do you have any recollection of earlier this evening?
Yes.
Well, I have a good recollection of earlier this evening because we were covering up your shit, right?
What do you mean covering up my shit?
Someone that
At
fits
some point you'll
your description exactly had a little bit of a scuffle with a poor mortal that was almost killed.
In fact, would have been if it weren't for our coterie mate.
Joanne.
Why isn't Joanne here? I'd rather talk to Joanne.
Because
Joanne's
Joanne...
recovering.
Yeah, she saved the life of this...
Recovering?
Right.
Why? What's happened to her?
Well, that's not.
Was she attacked?
No, that's not what we came here to discuss.
Get distracted.
I'm not distracted. I want to know what happened to Joanne.
Well, you know what? You tell us. You come with us to Sir Holder, yeah, and we will then tell you.
Why am I going to Sir Holder?
What happened? Because
Did you attack someone tonight?
No.
At some point, you'll get a text just saying, I had to use my powers to save him and nothing else.
Why do we have someone
You sent the
giving
text.
your description
Yes, but
Like, probably half an hour
and
later at this
such and such address?
She frowns when you say the address. She says, they must be confused.
No, they were not.
Well, are you saying I'm wrong?
No,
Good.
I am saying
Let's sort it out.
it probably you're misremembering.
right.
No, that is saying wrong, and I am not wrong.
No.
I remember clearly,
Did
perfectly.
you feed on someone?
I've been here, and I've been talking about very interesting philosophical things.
With whom?
Right.
With my friends. She'll gesture one of them over. So, a student comes over. Well, you assume a student. Certainly a young person who looks very relaxed and slightly drunk. And she says, haven't I been here all night? And they say, yes, Sally.
That is
She
a
says,
goading-
see?
That's a goading question, Sally. Come on.
It's a very clear question with a very clear answer.
Great. Someone you spent all night with vouches for you. That makes all the difference in the world.
She says, listen, I'll tell you what I told Druti. I have not done anything wrong. And the sooner you work that out and tell Sir Holder, the sooner she will be off my back and the better it will be for everyone.
You have to understand, apologies if we come a little bit strong on this one. You have to understand, there has been a breach of the Masquerade.
In your domain.
Your name is the one that has been, well, your face, your body, your description, the way you're dressed, your haircut.
Where?
And I tell her the address again. Someone was attacked there. And eyewitnesses put someone with your description, dressed the way...
In your domain.
I'm trying to remember from the recording that Velvet has, basically the
I mean, I
Yeah.
have it
and
on me.
Mr.
Sure.
White had.
Yes.
I'm obviously not playing it because there's
No,
other people.
but
yeah.
the way the woman was dressed, not only the haircut, but does it match?
Yeah, make a quick, I don't know, intelligence roll. Just a flat intelligence, I think. Or no, if you've got investigation, I guess.
Yeah, that's intelligence.
Because remember, I'm the only one with investigation here.
Yeah.
Remember? That is one success.
It is a very, very good match. I mean, it's the right height, it's the right hair color,
The clothing.
the clothing. Well, I mean, they didn't describe her exact clothing,
No,
but it's the right age, height, hair color, things like that.
So you
so-
understand why we're asking the questions, right?
so
I
what?
understand that you've been misinformed.
No, because someone might try to make it look like it was you.
Well, obviously.
Doesn't that bother you?
Yes, it makes me furious.
Wouldn't you want to find out who they are and
Yes.
them?
Yes.
Then we should do what must be done in this situation. We need to go to Sir Hulda and tell her that you are being set up, and then she can give us the instruction to look for those.
Okay, I like this. You can make a roll on this one.
Okay, cool.
Um,
I assume charisma plus persuasion. Manipulation.
I think manipulation.
Yes,
I
it
think
is
manipulation and persuasion. You can have some kind of support assist from Velvet,
And that's it.
and that's it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make a roll for Sally.
You know what? I want to have this done quickly. I rouse.
You just give me a my success.
Yeah, I'm presuming.
Oh, do you give me a success or a die?
Velvet gives a.
I don't know what this goes off
success.
Manipulation.
Essentially, it's to do with the skill level that you're providing. So
I've got skill of 3 on persuasion.
Okay, yeah,
So it's a success.
I just get a success.
you get an automatic success.
and I rouse the blood.
Okay.
I can't provide assistance for now, or
Are you in there with them?
I'm in there with them.
What is Silas doing to assist in this attempt? Because they've both been involved in the conversation. If you're just there nodding, yeah, go on then. Go on.
You get one more die from me.
Oh, one die. Go.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4 successes.
Okay.
And I'm debating whether to spend my first willpower of the night. I will.
Okay. So, Sally looks for a moment like she might agree.
5 successes.
So mechanically speaking, you
6 with hers.
Mechanically speaking, you win this round of the social combat.
Mm-hmm.
But
Successes.
Sally's willing to take the willpower damage and not leave just yet. But you do see her consider your words carefully. You do see her quiver. And she says, that is interesting. But I don't think I need Sir Holder getting involved in my business. It is my domain.
Yes, but also hers. I mean,
Think
all
about
of the
it.
south.
If you're right, and Sir Holder is there, think about what you get out of it. She's going to have to admit she's wrong again in front of you.
Yes.
This is absolutely, you're slaying it, right?
Yes. All right, I'll give you...
This is the best venture team up ever.
I'll give you another round.
Now it's your
But this
go.
time, Velvet, you're leading.
Okay, what am I rolling then?
Manipulation plus persuasion.
Persuasion, an extra die from me.
And I'll give you an extra dice because you've spoken directly to Sally's unbeating heart.
Yeah.
Me.
And you, yes.
You rousing?
Oh yeah, but what do I do? Remind me how I do that. Do I just
Add one. And
I do not
after
go
you
hungry
make
from rousing.
Yeah, good.
I do not. That was lucky. But I do spend willpower.
spend some willpower, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. 6 successes, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes, six.
just. She
You.
But let me make a hunger check.
she says yes. And when she admits that she is wrong, you will be there to witness it. And you agree that you will tell people at court.
I absolutely will.
Excellent, let's go. So,
I just let her lead the way. I think she's sitting at the front. And actually, I opened I opened the front door for her, so she sits next to Silas, and I can sit behind her, where I can try and grab her if she tries to fight
Okay.
Silas.
I'm not fighting him this time. For
No, that's why you're sitting
Yeah.
behind Silas,
Yeah.
okay.
like a big shield.
Yep.
So you're going back to the holder with Sally.
I'm text you
Yes.
and say I'll text you back and say because you've just said to me I had to use my powers. I'm like, oh my god, did you give him your blood? That's the text.
No.
Okay.
I did.
Okay.
We go to Sir Holden.
So you head back to Sir Holder, whereupon you will deliver Sally, and Sir Holder will thank you for this delivery, and she says,
I mean, we're gonna keep our word. So it's like,
Yeah.
we will listen to
Are
the
we?
statement. Basically, we'll listen to the statement so Sir Holden knows that we're not stupid
Yes,
people
yeah.
going after. No, this is what we have from an eyewitness account. You will understand why we believe it was Miss Herrick.
I can play the eyewitness.
But
Yeah.
she's saying that she wasn't there. She also has a witness from her.
are you playing the eyewitness statement anywhere near Sally?
Well, I guess so because
Yeah,
I
sure.
guess we're in the
So to sum this up, what happens is you explain the situation to the Holder, you play the business. Sally says that is lies. I have done nothing wrong. I am beyond reproach. And this is just nonsense. And So Holder says, I see. And then says, whilst Sally and I discuss this matter at some length, you will return to ensure there is no other problems.
To the scene?
Yes.
Of course.
And we will reconvene tomorrow night.
Yeah, we were letting some time pass, so the police and medical...
The details are not relevant. Success.
Right.
Go.
Silas, back to the Haven, fast.
We've got to go back to the scene.
Sorry?
Didn't she just say we have to go back to the scene?
Yeah, well, say in character whatever you want to say.
Sorry.
Yes, we have to go back
We
to
have
the
to go
scene.
back. Yeah, well, there's
Oh,
not the
what's
Haven.
closer?
The scene of the crime, because it's right close to Zelda.
Okay, yeah, because that guy that I was...
Oh yeah, that guy.
I believe someone used Sublimitas,
Oh right.
the powers of the blood,
Right.
to get them to take loads of pictures and then go to the park nearby and deliver them. I want to know who they are, and I don't want to make it so late that whomever did it goes away. So,
But we still have to go back to the scene because
Yes.
that's what Sir Holder said, right?
yes, but we could go to the... Yeah, we should go to
We
the
could
scene
split
now.
up.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
Crap. Right. Drive.
which of us is better suited to go to the park?
I can go to the park.
Well,
I've
yes.
been talking to the guy, so
Then I guess I'm staking out this scene.
yeah. We
So-
drive to the scene, but then I immediately just get a taxi or something
So you're getting a taxi to go to the park. You're going back.
to the Haven. I need to pick up the guy.
Yes. So
Oh, this day.
So you two will...
I'm leaving you with a fast car. You know?
So you're on the way to this stakeout business.
Yep.
You will get a text from Adam that just says, free, question mark?
I'll say to Silas, you're pretty good with these stakeouts, right? I mean, you got this covered off, right? Because I have another thing that I have to do, and it's like vitally important.
I
I'm asking, can you cut me a favor here, right?
Yeah, more of this.
Well, I mean, you just have to pull up and like watch out for the scene, right? I'm sure nothing is gonna happen.
Yeah.
The police are bound to be gone by now.
That's what I'm hoping, but
And you know what? I've had a tough evening. You know, I've done a lot of stuff tonight.
yeah, you didn't just help. You didn't help Joanne save that guy's life.
What do you mean?
I think this is a social combat. So, basically, you are making a persuasion check to try and persuade Silas to let you go. Silas, you are trying to persuade Velvet to not go.
What is this, off my charisma? Or my manipulation?
Oh, it's a bit grey. It's a bit grey, this
I
one.
think it's more, well, if you're asking me, I think it's more manipulation because even though you're making excuses, you are, you want him...
Yeah, let's say
Yes.
manipulation plus persuasion. Silas, it's going to be charisma plus persuasion.
Or resolve.
Or resolve plus persuasion, yeah. I'll take that.
Oh, no.
Now, remember, because it's two players in contest, you need to both roll your dice, decide if you're going to spend willpower first before revealing your results.
I can rouse for this?
You can rouse, yeah, you can rouse for any test. Are you rousing?
I mean, I'll definitely spend willpower, for sure.
Yeah.
Regardless of the...
Yeah.
Of a need.
Okay, so don't call out your success result, just quickly check it, decide if you're going to spend willpower, re-roll if you're going to do it.
I have to roll it. I haven't rolled it yet.
Roll
Yeah.
first, yeah.
So the idea is that you roll and spend willpower stuff before you declare so the other player doesn't know. So you don't have that weird situation where it's like, oh, I could beat them if I spend willpower.
Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely be spending willpower.
Do it.
Excellent.
I'm pretty sure I'm sunk anyway, but
Six?
No.
Okay.
Fine.
I got 5 with a messy critical.
5 with a messy critical, and you got...
Flat 5, so it's a draw.
Oh, flat 5.
Each one of them gets a...
So you'll both take 1 point of willpower damage, in addition to the willpower you spent. So basically, this is this thing where, you know when an argument just starts to drag on, and you start to feel it, like it's painful. So, It's your choice. You can carry on arguing or not. So Velvet.
Yeah.
Just
I mean-
go.
Excellent.
Okay, and that's how social combat works. So, Velvet, you go get a cab to go see Adam,
Yep.
assumedly.
Yeah.
So you're off to the Love Nest. Silas, you're going to go and, check this place?
Yeah, I'll have a...
So the thing you'll find is the ambulances have gone. There is a crime scene tape, but there is not... there is a small police presence, but it doesn't look like anything radical is going on. There's obviously a bit of... They're checking the scene, and it's been marked away, and there's a few what look like... You think probably forensics types doing kind of checks and things around, but that's about it. But are you just staying at a distance and kind of keeping an eye for a while? Cool.
See, I told you it'd be fine.
You are going back to get this guy and go to the park. And assumably you go to the park with him?
Well,
I have 47.
I just reassure him, have you been fed? Have you been treated well? We're going back to the park. Whereabouts are you supposed to go? And then when we're getting close to the park,
Yes.
on the way there, it's like, okay, I will be some distance behind you, making sure you are okay.
Okay.
And I assure him everything will be fine.
Okay.
And then he walks on,
Yes.
and then I use the ambient shadows.
Okay. I would like you to make a check for me. Because it's going to be contested. So you're making a dex and stealth, essentially.
Oh yeah, yes. I'm gonna.
You can have an extra die because it's a poorly lit park.
Okay, so dexterity plus stealth plus my rouse check.
Yes.
Stop throwing the dice.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes.
Okay. So.
Oh, wait. Dexterity plus stealth plus my rouse, and you said I had an extra die,
yeah.
for the
Yeah.
one more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 successes.
Okay. So, you basically are staying well back and staying hidden.
And I don't go hungry.
Is that right?
I don't.
Yeah, no, but you're staying back and staying hidden.
Yeah.
So you drive the blood to your purpose. It does not make you hungry. You're feeling like you're on form. Everything's good. You're ready. You're on the hunt.
Yeah, and also
You send this.
use the shadows to cover me.
You
Shadow
send this guy ahead into the park. You're waiting in the shadows. He goes across the park a little way. And then from the other side of the park, from someone who's been hiding, someone steps out and hurries over to them and holds out a hand.
Do I see them?
Yeah, you see them. You found a spot on that roll where you've got in a good position. You can see them.
Do I recognize them?
No. So it looks like a man. He is quite smartly dressed. He has quite kind of slick, kind of combed hair. He is pale. You will notice that. You can't see him very well because the light is not good in this park. But there is something about him that says inhuman. Immediately.
I approach stealthily, as close as I can.
Okay. It's not a very well... You will get closer than normal, but there is going to be a point where they will see you before you're very close, just because it's an open park. And even though you're approaching stealthily, it's...
Yeah. But I want, if they're going to see me, I want them to see me at the last possible second.
Okay.
Of course, the guy has his camera, or whatever remains of it.
But with no filming.
No film, no nothing.
So essentially, it's not a very long conversation. They say something, you think, and this guy just holds his hand out like that. And they snatch the camera. You're getting kind of close as they're starting to go. That's when they'll see you. What do you do?
I'm walking towards them.
Okay. They break and run.
Do they see me at any point?
Yes. As you're walking towards them, there's that moment where you see each other and they just go.
Is there enough time for me to just say stay?
No. Not in that fleeting, because they see you and go. It's not like you have a proper held, and you're not at that close a distance. It's dark as well. You can't see their eyes properly.
It has the silencer.
Okay.
I just shoot him.
So, you pull out your gun to shoot.
Yeah. In the leg again.
As they start to run, you are rushing off.
Sure, yeah.
For
I mean,
your
I'm
love
texting
nest.
to say I'm on the way, right?
Joanne, you will get a visit in person from Druty.
Give her a hug as she comes in.
Yeah, as she steps in, she will hug you and she will say, I have something very important to tell you. And Silas, you do the stakeout. The night, obviously, you come to a point where there is nothing else to see here. You don't live, though, in the Coterie HQ, do you? You assumably live in your flat still.
Still tend to live in the flat, but have been moving stuff slowly over.
Slowly, okay. So you will be getting ready to head back. And at that point, we shall end this session and pick up.
I'm gonna shoot.
So-
I mean, it's the signature Theo shot in the knee.
Yeah, and we will find out how the signature Theo shot in the leg
See,
goes
why
next
be
week.
faithful to your law when you can have someone else do it for you?
So this is a point.
Yeah.
Before we close, there's a few bits of business. Velvet, you will collect a
Boss roll.
stain
Yes.
for being disobedient to your lord. Do you have any convictions you can apply against the stain?
Which instance of being disobedient to my lord are we talking about?
You were given an order by your lord to go and check out this place.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely can apply my convictions against this.
Which one?
The first one, which is, I can't remember how it's phrased because this is not my right character sheet, but it's the one around love.
It's the one around love.
You've got it written down there.
I'm gonna. It is love above all. So yes, that will apply. So that will basically repel that stain. However, you will now feel an urge to reconnect with that touchstone
Yep.
because of our homebrew rules. I believe you have got
I have a stain.
a stain, so you need to make a remorse check.
You got this? Come on. Yep.
There's 3 successes.
You feel very remorseful. Very remorseful.
Like, oh no, I broke my word to Doc.
Yeah, that'll be.
But that'll happen after
this
shoot
scene.
the living Jesus out of that guy's knee.
That will happen after this scene. When you get a quiet moment, that's when the remorse will kick in.
So,
So, players, if you can make sure you keep track of your current willpower, current health, current blood hunger levels, because we are not. You won't.
Who thinks I'm dead?
Yeah, he will not recover.
You won't be recovering for next week.
Yeah.
So just to say, big thank you to the players as ever for being fabulous. This week is Mitch Appreciation Week, and is also a special one because whenever we come to a new season, there is a huge amount of work to do, and I do as little of it as I can get away with. So Mitch has been busy, locked in our flat, not allowed to leave, getting things sorted. So a big thanks to him.
and with that, toss some bits to our Mitchell, toss some bits to our Mitchell. Oh, disaster goes, oh, disaster goes, oh.
And lastly, thank you all for joining us.
Thanks to our storyteller.
Yes, thank you.
you.
And look forward to seeing you all next week. Bye.
Where's that goddamn dice?
Thank you so much for watching this episode of Blood on the Tamesis. If you'd like to keep up with all the latest news, follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Oh, and do remember, if you want to join us live, be sure to tune in every Monday at 7 p.m. UK time on Twitch. Or you can catch up on YouTube or our podcast. Oh, and a big special thank you to our supporters on Patreon and all of you sumptuous disaster ghouls. We'll be seeing you next time.